allegations. Kenya National Union of Nurses Trans Nzoia branch has announced a strike notice for the next 7 days after the county leadership failed to fulfill the CBA agreement. Non-chairperson Trans Nzoia branch Edward Cheriot has said that the strike will give their employer time to rethink their decision and implement agreements including promotions and issuance of permanent contracts to health workers.
This must go to the public. Wauguzi hawapendi kwenda mgomo. Tumelazimishwa na serikali kwenda mgomo. Tutarudi wakati wameandika watu as per the advert yenye iko kwa County Public Service Board. Tutarudi wakati kila nurse kwa hii county ako na barua ya promotion. Tutarudi wakati tuko na medical cover ambayo itatusaidia. Tutarudi wakati madawa ya kutosha iko kwa mahospitali zote. Tutarudi wakati environment ya kufanya kazi imekuwa improved. Na kama hii haikuwa addressed, tunasema sisi tarehe 8 tunaenda mgomo na turudi mpaka hiyo vitu yote 9 ifanywe.
The fourth suspect in the West Pokot 296 million shillings bursary theft, Simon Kodomuk, has been arrested in Eldoret. Kodomuk, who has been on the run to evade EACC arrest, served as Chief Officer for Education when the fraudulent scheme to embezzle 296 million shillings meant for needy students' bursary was hatched and executed. According to a statement, the suspect is currently being processed by EACC North Rift Regional Office for arraignment before the Eldoret Anti-Corruption Court. The other 3 suspects in the scam are Mary Ngoriakis, who is the former Chief Officer Education, Matthew Arusio, former County Director of Bursary, and Francis Decol, former Assistant County Director of Bursary, who were charged on 23rd September and remanded pending bail ruling today. That's the news wire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aye, City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
I mean, I don't know.
What are they
how
saying?
are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside. Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. Since I'm not shipping out. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
the sheep man.
Emmanuel Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they'd been told to write composition about a sheep. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia, hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo.
Jana nimeona wale wazee tulishinda. Ati hiyo mzee akisema ati he will not be coerced or intimidated to joining our government. Wewe mzee sikia. we have no business within our government. Hatuna haja na hatugojei wewe. We are not looking for you and we have no time. Stop saying that people can force you to come to this government. Forget about being forced or coerced. We are not interested because sisi tuko na kazi ya kufanya.
Kama kuna mtu ako na namba ya William Ruto, arekodi hii video mtumie. Maisha yangu tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kuona mtu muongo, mfisadi, baradhuli, dhabdhabina kama William Samoei Ruto.
Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. Ati huyu akitaka aje aongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. I wonder. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
We have a choice to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
A few moments later.
Now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning and welcome to Wednesday in the middle of the week and what's happening with traffic where you are today. Let's take a quick look at the capital and what is coming through in terms of movement. Seems to be all moving pretty smoothly right about now. Folks getting out and about without any holdups really. Even on the Thika Superhighway, we don't see much. We're seeing some free, smooth movement on Kangunda Road, except when you just get past Mama Lucy out towards the Outer Ring Junction. There's some traffic there and it's probably going to hold up for some time. Also on the Eastern Bypass, as you then approach North Airport Road, that starts to slow down some. Makadara train station on Jogo Road has some traffic as you get out towards Landis. But apart from that, I think we're on easy street, literally. Let's see what happens as we get into it this Wednesday. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Are you doing Mambo Namnagani? It's the 2nd day of October 2024, Kenya's biggest conversation. Ndu, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to me.
Yeah. You know, take the greeting and do with it as you wish.
Yeah.
Are you well?
I am well. Yeah.
You look it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Outwardly, I'm fine.
Oh, no. What's wrong? Talk to Mama.
I don't know.
You don't know what's wrong?
No.
It's one of those je ne sais quoi moments.
I don't know whether I'm not fine or fine.
Why?
I just said outwardly I'm fine.
And inwardly?
So those ones now you have to go and seek medical attention.
If symptoms persist.
Yeah. It is October. And we said sometime in October, City will come back.
Yeah.
It's still October.
It's still October.
It's still October.
And voila.
And here he is. Bwana Muga.
Allah. Asa.
Mambo vipi?
Fiti. Yes.
You look like Papua New Guinea.
Thank you very much.
Did you go all the way?
Nope. Sikuenda mahali.
Why didn't you go? Yeah?
Mimi niliona nitachoka bure. So nikaa tu Kenya.
Yeah.
Kusafiri ni
pande gani ya Kenya?
Safiri, I did not go anywhere, literally.
You did not leave Nairobi?
Literally, no.
You stayed in your house?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's very nice.
Did you miss us?
No.
Wow.
I was on holiday.
You were chilling.
When I'm back at work, I miss you.
Yeah. The rest of the time, part of being on holiday
is not missing you.
Yes.
About
Because
you.
missing you is missing work.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm thinking, had I been there? Had I been there? I don't even watch the show. No.
Very nice.
It's good. That disconnect.
How many hours are you sleeping a day?
I'm playing around 10.
Wow.
Very good.
Well done.
Very good. And so what are you doing in the other 14 hours?
Reading.
Mm-hmm.
He watched a movie.
No, I watched a number of movies.
Every day there'd be a movie?
No. Just when I felt like it. Most times I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hey. Buana.
There are things I've been wanting to read on. So I took the time to read. Yes.
Very good.
And the reading was useful.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it completely amusing. Completely amusing.
Like, this is where you give an example.
Yeah, this is where I give an example. Well, for example, I was thinking about this thing that has been in the papers about Rigiji. I didn't even want to read it, but people kept sending and calling and asking what I think. So I said, well, I wasn't thinking, but now let me think. And I realized there are more questions than the answers. Why do they want to impeach the deputy president? What has he done? Because anything that he can be accused of, if it's in the constitution, I'm afraid that particular broom will sweep very many people because if
pursued.
If pursued, including the president. If those accusations are said to be true, then the question will be he who has the first stone. Sorry, he who has no sin.
Touché. Well done.
Yes. Now, what is his sin? The biggest sin is his mouth. And yet, if I look at Kenyan politics for what I know it to be, man, we've had these charades before.
There's nothing new.
From the time of Karanja to the time of Njonjo, we've had these things before, okay? We had it even just the previous government. We had the same thing. And usually it's about money. It's not any of these esoteric things that people are telling you about.
Besha.
It is money. How do you think Rigiji became DP? Now, this is what I'm speculating. He must have contributed significantly. People contribute with the understanding that they're going to be refunded.
It's an investment.
It is always an investment. So when you see very many people going in there, ask yourself, what did they invest to get these jobs here? Now, it's in the refunding of the investment where problems arise.
The ROI.
Yeah, inataka shida. There are some people who start feeling,
you want your return to be faster. Somebody else tells you,
somebody feels it's too much, and you're saying, do you even know how much it is I invested? And then when it enters the political arena, now you have to find reasons why this person must. You have to find. It's not as though they're there. You must find. But what I found interesting, as I was thinking, politicians are very short-sighted and short-minded. They never seem to see what they're setting in motion. This same Wembe. Yes.
Those are not things that threaten politicians.
Precisely. And that is why when it arrives at them, they all seem surprised and they look for someone to blame for what they set in motion.
We shall discuss many of these things in coming days as that journey has started. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. At 7 o'clock, we'll be joined by Dr. Mary Amuyunzu Nyamongo. She's a founder, director, and technical advisor at AIHD, Health and Development Policy Formulation for Poverty, Health, and Social Protection. She's worked in this field for very many years. She'll come and tell us what AIHD does and how they have been involved in matters of poverty and alleviation. That's 7 o'clock. 8 a.m. We will talk about investing for growth. Key considerations. You want to invest for growth. What are the key considerations? Christian Mwerege is the head asset management at Stanbic Bank Kenya. He will come at 8 a.m. and let's talk about money and building wealth. Okay? And then at 9 o'clock, Kenyans need focused leadership. What kind of leadership do we need in this country, and how do we define it? When you say focused, what's focus? In whose lens? Patrick Osoy is a policy and governance expert. He will be here at 9 a.m. Yoyo Rego Sasawa. We're live streaming the show. Lydiah has done like that. And so the show is up everywhere on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. And if you're online, please say hello. Ndu will give us a weather forecast and then we'll acknowledge your presence. City, the proverbs are from Gambia. Ama unapindua hii serikali?
Hapana, serikali ninalea tu Gambia.
Okay.
Mpaka tufike mwisho wa wiki.
Very good.
Then tutaenda nchi nyingine.
Yeah.
Gambia ni mahali pazuri.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Small but mahali pazuri sana.
Weather forecasts.
The Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
It's 16 and cloudy in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 14. At 13, cloudy conditions in Nakuru with highs of 25. And we'll see highs of 23 and lows of 15 and a partly cloudy Nyeri currently at 16. It is 13 and mostly cloudy in Eldoret with highs of 24. And we'll see highs of 30 in a mostly sunny Mombasa at 24. Malindi at 25 will be partly sunny through Wednesday with highs of 31 and lows of 24. It's 19 and cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 30, while we'll see highs of 29 in a partly cloudy Kakamega at 15, coming down to lows of 14. Kampala is cloudy at 16 with highs of 30, and Dar es Salaam at 24 is mostly cloudy, highs of 30. Johannesburg clear this morning at 4 degrees, highs of 21, while it will be cloudy in Mogadishu at 25. We'll see highs of 31. It's 13 and sunny in Addis Ababa, highs of 21 and lows of 12, while partly cloudy conditions rule Lagos skies at 26. We'll see highs of 31 and lows of 25. Mostly clear at 24 in Kinshasa with highs of 32. Beijing Wednesday afternoon is sunny at 18, highs of 20 and lows of 6, while it's cloudy in Paris this morning. We'll see highs of 17 and lows of 11, with highs of 17 and lows of 10 in a cloudy London, currently at 14. Tuesday night is clear in New York at 15, coming into Wednesday. We'll see highs of 20 and lows of 14.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
People are many.
There are very many. Don Sabo says, never bang on the table, you'll be impeached. Okay? That's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the excitement of our MPs yesterday, says Onganyi Malala? We should not expect much from them. Also noted, they're cowards who need police protection. 24/7, 365.
That's what they were claiming.
That's what they said.
Bloody nonsense.
Imagine. Protect us.
From what?
You know, danger.
Which danger?
That's lurking.
From?
Inside.
Protect us from, We need you to help us. Good morning, everybody. Evans and Tabo says. Linus Gitonga is tuned in from Tharaka Nithi. Peter Kiaria says, good morning, Wakubwa Zangu. Good morning, everybody. We thank God for giving us life and a new day indeed. Tuned in from Lower Lavington. His name is Dangote Kilonzo. Tuned in from Lower Lavington. Okay. Edwin Thumbi is also here. Sir George Gashoridi says he's looking forward to a great show and a wonderful Wednesday. Agola says, good morning, people. Well, good morning, Agola. Amos Saibulu says, good morning. Gashagwa steak in Dikizi. Okay, sawa. Joe Mungai says, everybody, good morning. Power is transient, isn't it? Yes, it is. Eric Okoh says, good morning, Ndu City and Eric, my namesake.
Mambo vipi?
Poa sana.
Very good.
Tano Teka says, good morning from Rochester, Minnesota. Habari ya Wakenya watukufu, says Nyadi, tuned in from Doha.
Wengine ni watukutu.
What is that?
Uliza City.
City, what is watukutu?
Mtukutu. Watu wenye shida nyingi.
What is the...
watu.
Maku? Oh, okay, that's something else. Okay. Amaya Okeo says, good morning. Anthony Karanch is also here. Ellen Paul says, oh God of all creation, bless this land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. Sindio? Johnston Asava says, good morning, big team. Receiving you loud and clear from Taveta. Ndu, you were on my case yesterday because of a typo. Yes. Typos are never allowed. But I still love you. Well, love to you too, Johnston. Festus Hongo says, good morning. All tuned in. Jimmy Gakio is also here this morning. Tibbs Muga, good morning. How many lawyers are there in Kenya? Okay. I don't know. But okay, we can try. Desmond.
Log on to the LSK portal and find out. They're all registered there. Well, advocates. Yeah, lawyers.
Many more lawyers, I would imagine. Desmond Oti says, Ndu Achieng, good morning. You decided my name is Achieng?
Kabesa.
Really? I was born at night. Is that correct, CT? I was born at 10:45 p.m.
Achieng? No, that's around midday.
Sindo? So I can't be Achieng.
So mtu ya usiku anaitwa nini?
Atieno.
Atieno.
Because night is Otieno.
Otieno.
That is night time.
Okay.
So a guy who's called Otieno was born at night.
At night.
Atieno, female, born at night.
Pap D, ask Eric to do air kisses like he did in front of Spice guest Barack Muluka. You kissed the air when Barack was here.
In front of Spice?
Is that person who saw that one? When? Which?
Ask Eric to do air kisses like he did in front of Spice guest Barack Muluka. Was I here? Hey. Okay. Leo, good morning, Princess. Good morning to you, Leo. He's asking questions. So after the shift scam started, parents were being denied services as a Comedy Central in Parliament continued. Somebody bewitched us. Where? Robert Tobogo says, good morning from Mombasa. Bigfoot Venture says, good morning, everybody. Thanks for the work that you do. Thank you so much. So many people online this morning. Jim Wayo, Chris Choto, Sky Simba. Agola is very happy that CT is back. So are very, very many other people. Pap D even has a question for you this morning, CT, but we'll ask you another day because good grief. Kelvin Mutegi is also here. Afax at Makori is here. Jimmy Gakio is tuned in. Where? Everybody's saying CT Karibu Sana. Najma Chaudhry, I love that name, says, good morning. Welcome back. CT, you are the wise elder, and we're glad to have you here. Everybody, Edwin, Michael, Brenda, Felix, Meshach, Wisely, somebody called Chochote Chatweza Tendeka. Everybody, here, good morning. Karibuni sana.
Safi, CT. So you're proverb basi.
Ile kutoka Gambia ile.
Gambia ile.
Ile mshasema about the man who sleeps on a mat.
No.
All right, so let me talk about the man who sleeps on a mat. He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a cold, in fact, very cold ground.
Mtu akilala kwa matatu amelalia cold ground.
Mat baba si matatu bwana, ile met ile wajua.
Ati he who sleeps in a matatu.
He had mat, matatu.
Hey, wow. Sheesh.
Yeah. He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a cold, very cold ground.
Very good. Very good. We'll see them. They're here, Mama. Headlines.
On the front page of on the Standard this morning, on his way out is what the Standard has decided it's going to be. There's a picture of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua doing the walk. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment nightmare sprung to life yesterday after 291 MPs signed up to a historic motion to send him home on 10 grounds, which Kibwezi MP Mwengi Mutuse says will shock Kenyans. Yani these grounds, Vile amefanya. It has never been done before. Even as lawmakers demand more security for Ruto and members. You know, something can happen to us, sababu tumefanya hivi. Please take care of us. The 10 grounds for impeachment, shall I tell you what they are? Utterances that threaten to discriminate.
What?
For real, I swear it's there. Exclude and unlawfully deny equal opportunities. I don't know to who. He undermined the president and the cabinet in the discharge of government's executive mandate, undermining devolution and unjustifiably vilifying and ridiculing the Nairobi county government, scathing public attacks on Lady Justice Esther Maina and threatening to bring action against her, violating the oath of office which requires him to obey, preserve and defend the constitution, violating national cohesion and integration through persistent, inflammatory and reckless remarks, amassing property estimated at 5.2 billion shillings suspected to be proceeds of graft and money laundering, gross misconduct, acting contrary to high calling and dignified status of the office of the DP, member of cabinet and National Security Council, demeaned, undermined and committed insubordination instead of assisting the president, and finally bullying. Persistent coercion and bullying of state and public officers in the security forces, ministries and other state institutions.
And this is investigation by Parliament.
Yeah.
And all these things are in tandem with what the Constitution says makes someone eligible for impeachment.
Yeah.
Which Constitution?
In fact, some of the words, according to Ahmed Nasir, we saw on his X yesterday, some of them have been, it's a direct, if they have been, they said they did their homework very well, that they combed through the Constitution and they put this vis-a-vis what they said to have been done, they matched the two and ka-ching, 10 grounds. While that is going on, Senator Manzo has decided, you know what? Even you, the president, you can also go. And he files a censure motion against President William Ruto.
Where?
Nakwambia. How rising tides threaten coast communities. The tides are actually rising. A lot of villages during floods were completely submerged, but the floods are gone, and still the tides rise, submerging of many more. Interns apply afresh for 46,000 teaching jobs. There is some water that's being drunk at the TSC, and it's not doing people very well. Because these interns, the thought was that they were supposed to then be upgraded and be given these jobs. But the TSC has now taken those 46,000 jobs, basically told the interns without telling them that, yeah, either you apply for a job or somebody else takes it.
Okay.
Register or else.
What is the process? Anyway.
I'll tell you that particular story.
All right.
Register or else. Patients paying as a shift is rolled out. Yesterday was quite a crazy day. There was an amazing, or there is, in my opinion, an amazing basketball player called Dikembe Mutombo. 2 days ago, he passed from brain cancer. And his legacy is amazing. He was easily one of the best defensive players in the world when it came to basketball. And the things that he did for his people after joining the NBA were unbelievable.
He was originally from Congo.
Yes.
Was he unwell?
Yes, he had brain cancer. So he passed away a couple of days ago on the 30th of September. And his legacy, even before he's been buried, is being shouted.
Very sad.
Very sad.
The Business Daily. Banks offered bond swap as KQ misses 19 billion shilling loans deadline. Top commercial banks will convert 19.3 billion worth of loans advanced to KQ into treasury bonds after the deadline for settling the debt lapsed. The 10 banks, including Equity and Cooperative Bank and KCB, own 38% of the airline. They have been offered a 6.5-year bond for an undisclosed interest rate, according to a treasury document seen by the Business Daily. The Treasury, which has guaranteed the loan, had to settle the debt in cash by the end of August or issue the lenders an acceptable government security instrument or a bond. So Treasury was unable to raise this 19 billion shillings. So they've told the banks, let's do this. Let's convert this into a bond. Sawa. Yeah, and then we'll talk about the interest. They have talked about the interest, but we do not know the interest. Them, they know.
They know? Okay.
Hustler loans. State targets defaulters M-Pesa airtime. Individuals who've defaulted on Hustler loans will soon have the unpaid debt deducted from their M-Pesa accounts and airtime in the struggle to recover more than 7 billion shillings from the 13 million defaulters. Hustler Fund Acting CEO Elizabeth Okoh told a parliamentary committee that they are engaging mobile phone operators such as Safaricom on how to recover the unpaid loans from their subscribers. Ngumu. How? How? Was there anywhere in the terms and conditions of the Hustler Fund that say that
in the failure to pay your loan,
that your guarantor, or for example, or your
is your mobile wallet provider,
or your security is the amount in your M-Pesa? Because in that case, just people will just not have money on M-Pesa.
Exactly. I changed my life.
Yes, by all those details.
Yeah. Ticker headlines. State loans diverted to salaries, utilities doubled to 416 billion shillings. Hey. The government spent 415.7 billion shillings, or more than half of the cash it borrowed in the financial year ended June, on recurrent expenses such as payment of salaries and utilities in breach of the law. You borrow
for development.
Now they borrowed the Wakalipa salaries. So when they were going to the bond market at 18%, they're taking this money at 18% or 16% in terms of the T-bills for recurrent expenditure. Kulipa stima, maji na mshahara. Kenya Power to get rivals early next year. Electricity producers will be allowed to sell power directly to consumers in the first quarter of next year. The Energy Ministry has revealed, ending Kenya Power's monopoly.
Ati?
Yeah.
Which country are we in?
In Kenya. You're generating your own electricity, you can sell directly to consumers. from next year.
Okay.
You can now place standing order from your M-Pesa wallet. Oh, really? Safaricom's mobile money platform M-Pesa has launched a new payment feature allowing subscribers to set up standing orders directly from their e-wallets.
Okay.
That's a nice one.
Okay.
Yeah. Allah. Bank lending rates up despite CBK cuts. The average lending rate by commercial banks rose marginally in August despite a cut on the indicative rate by the CBK. Now, what do banks have to say about that?
They should just leave us alone, I beg.
City, you have the star?
I do have the star. Top right-hand corner, until green. This man, Mutuse, lawmaker behind petition to kick out deputy president. This is a story on page 2. Others refer to him as a first-term MP, blah, 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 etc., etc. I was about to say, at his shaky, rocky start. Then it's Shah's rocky start. As hundreds of patients miss life-saving dialysis. Traditional marriage. Woman dismissed as concubine wins right to bury her husband. This is story on page 3. Yes. Then there is a mention here.
What is Ledamo Olekina saying in that?
Era of tribal chieftains must end in Kenya.
This is Olekina who's saying.
I found this a bit, it's a little ironic, don't you think so?
Era of tribal chieftains
must end in Kenya. Yes. Same Kenya, where he himself clearly wants to be a tribal chieftain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I think the problem is not with the senator, it's with us.
It's us.
Yes.
It's interpretation.
Who told us to put the word truth and honesty alongside the speeches and the sayings of a politician? Who asked us?
We want to grow an expectation.
Why don't we just take things as they are and know exactly what is being said? Bang in the middle of the paper, charges. Mutuse claims the DP used 22 companies to allegedly launder money. This proving this laundering thing.
It'll be interesting.
Best of luck. Graft claims top list in Gachagwa's removal motion. Hey, the list, there are many things. Public attack on a judge, so people,
he's not the first one.
Did he go and throw a stone at the judge? He said what he thought. People say these things all the time. You know,
me reckon CT thinks that DP will not be impeached.
No. I mean, that is my thinking.
Yeah.
What exactly are they impeaching Gachagua for? These things that they've written here.
That's the thing.
It's frivolous, if you ask me.
What does the Constitution envisage? Is it a purely political process in impeachment, or is it a quasi-judicial process in impeachment? Like, do they need proof? Or can the MPs just stand up and say, I feel that, yes, it's true, that he has breached the Constitution,
there has to be proof,
and therefore vote?
There has to be proof.
There has to be proof. First of all, this thing of gross misconduct.
And who determines?
Unethical behavior. Precisely. What's the
insubordination, undermining the president, bullying KEMSA officials.
My friend.
It's highly political.
This
one.
Like
we see in the governors, it's highly political. MCAs will take it to the Senate. Senators will listen to the governor, and then they'll come back and tell, Wewe, governor, Wewe. We are sparing you, but Wewe.
Every time you hear of a governor who is facing some impeachment, it's always about money.
Yes, no.
You'll be told 1,001 things. It's about money. Okay? You think it's any different when you go high up?
Who didn't tell the line?
Everybody is busy and friendly when you want to vie for an election, and everybody contributes. We know people contribute. The understanding is once we get into power, you'll get a refund. It is not something that is a secret. Refund meaning you'll be given plum choices of business, your cronies will get plum. It is known. This is not something which is a secret. There's nothing Gachagua is doing that everybody who's in politics does not do. So where do you start and where do you stop?
Tell us about traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, starting to build up on the Thika Superhighway coming in from Survey through towards the fork in the road that leads towards Wangari Maathai or Murang'a Road. And we'll take a look at what's happening at the Global Cinema roundabout, and traffic has already started to build up here. It's busy on Gong Road. Coming in from Naivasha Road, heavy already, and we'll get that traffic then on Gong Road. As you then try to cross over towards Kingara Road and then out towards James Gishuru, traffic has already started to build up here as well. Waiyaki Way will be busy this morning. We can already see the early warnings from that. So if you've not left, now might be a good time to do so. Landys Road is also busy. Coming off of the Eastern Bypass, we'll see some traffic touching just a little bit on North Airport Road, but still early pickings. Let's see what happens as we go ahead. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Sema.
Patients stranded in hospitals as chaos mar rollout of shift. It was to be, we look, yeah. Chaos, confusion, tears and hopelessness engulfed patients in hospitals, which disabled the National Health Insurance Fund before systems to support the new Health Insurance Fund SHIF were installed. The first day of transition to the Social Health Authority and SHIF rollout turned out to be a total disaster for both patients and hospital administrators across the country. A spot check found that the Health Ministry, county governments, as well as public and private health facilities are hardly ready for the transition. Mother of three at the Kenyatta National Hospital in Nairobi, Miss Elizabeth Nanjira, a 40-year-old mother of three who had been relying on NHIF, went into labour at 12:20 a.m. 20 minutes later, Shah was born. She cannot afford to pay for maternity and is currently being detained at the hospital until she pays out of pocket. Do you remember yesterday I asked PS Kimtai? I said, if you go to hospital then from the 1st of October and you don't have money to pay and you are a paid up member, what happens? What did he say? He said you can just, the money that you have, you will
pay your subscription
and it will be your premium, and they should offer you healthcare without you having to pay any more. That is what he said, Abby.
That's what he said.
Thank you.
Now, has this woman done that?
No, apparently, she's being detained because they said she should pay for the delivery out of her pocket, and she's a paid up member of NHIF stroke SHA. Are you understanding?
Okay.
In Kakamega County, where Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa officially launched SHA yesterday, Ms. Nora Namboka, a local trader, said she was yet to understand why the government was shifting healthcare from NHIF to SHA. She questioned why Kenyans were being asked to register afresh, yet their details can be obtained from the NHIF register. They should have picked the details from NHIF and shifted them to SHA instead of subjecting us to another registration process. As per Mr. Washira, the latest SHA data shows that Kakamega is among the counties with low SHIF registration. He said that out of the 1.86 million people in Kakamega, only 27,000 have been registered, with 2.37 million Kenyans so far having enrolled on the new health scheme as of Monday, September 30th. At the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, Jurth in Kisumu, tens of patients were stranded. According to hospital staff who requested anonymity, a system failure resulted in delays in admission, treatment and discharge of patients. The facility was also not able to book theatre procedures, with patients directed to wait or check with the hospital tomorrow, which is today. In Trans Nzoia, patients were unable to access critical services as they are yet to register with SHA. According to Wamalwa Kijana Referral Hospital in Kitale, a caregiver said, what the government has done is unfair, because they could have shifted our details to the new system so as to avoid service interruption, because this is exactly what is happening across board: service disruption and interruption. It doesn't matter where you look. In Murang'a, Mr. Evans Manyeki, who is 72 and who on a monthly basis gets medication for mental illness worth 100 shillings, uses his NHIF card, he was turned away and told to first register with the new scheme. In West Pokot, expectant mothers were frustrated. We are going to face a lot of challenges during delivery, lamented Miss Grace Chepto at the Pisigorio Health Center. In Kisi, it doesn't matter where you go. Hundreds of patients at the Kisi Teaching and Referral Hospital rue the long hours spent queuing. I've been here since 10 a.m. It's now 3. I haven't been processed. I'm being told to wait, but I don't know for how long, according to Mr. Peter Ogoti, a cancer patient. In Siaya, Jane Atieno, a businesswoman with a mother of a child living with sickle cell, was worried. She said, "My son has been relying on NHIF for treatment costs. Will the new cover be similar to the one we have? I've already registered for SHA, but we know very, very little about it." We go from Homa Bay to Bomet to the coast. Lamu, Old Town, Taita Taveta. The story
it's the same. The common thread here is, number one, lack of information, and number two, just poor communication, even with the service providers.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they've had so much time to do this, and they have an entire network. The government has an entire network that could be used for this.
Yeah.
Just disseminate information and let people know. If you register, if you go to hospital, this is what you need. This is how you register. This kind of things. Or even having people at the hospitals and the facilities helping people to onboard. Come, okay, here, take your phone, do this, do the other, do the other, do the other. We're helping you to register, to onboard. There are very many requests, like a PS was saying, fighting last minute. They should have had the capacity. That's what is going to happen anyway, you know? And then the information, as you can see, those health facilities don't know. They don't know what to do. So if NHIF is over, I don't know how to register you into this new thing. I don't know how to handle you.
Neither am I going to give you care because I don't know how you'll pay.
I don't know how to handle you, and yet you're here. Those in government will look at this and say these are teething problems.
No.
But
they're not teething problems.
And there are some instances where teething problems are not allowed and
this
not
is
permissible.
A birth obstruction. This is not a teething problem.
Yeah.
The thing
when somebody is actually out there sick and they are seeking treatment, you cannot call anything a teething problem. That the margin for problems should be as minimal as possible.
In this discipline, those errors cost people lives.
Yes.
Come on.
And you're talking about people who were already paid up members of NHIF.
Yes.
And we had been promised there would be a smooth yes, exactly.
Yes.
So that promise again has not been kept.
City, I said yesterday, did I not paint a picture? Where did I take myself? I took myself to Mama Lucy. And I said, me who goes and I need a lab test because they've said you've been referred. I asked very clearly, what does that mean? And maybe now they're telling me to do 9,500, or after I've done the scan, they say, okay, yes, you need your dialysis, continue, pay the 9,500. Will I be treated? The PS said very clearly, what you do, you'd rather take that money, it be paid as your premiums, and they should treat you for free, quote unquote. You understand what I'm saying? That is what we were told should happen across medical facilities in the country from yesterday. It is not happening. Even this 9,500 that we're talking about for dialysis, what are hospitals saying? Well, actually, you know what? Dialysis here, the only money we have for dialysis is 2,350. So you have to pay the balance of 6,650 shillings. Meanwhile, under NHIF, you were getting dialysis, 9,500. What's the problem?
You didn't ask the question here. Even when Dr. Luen came to when he was the chairman of SHA. What is this thing that is so fundamentally wrong with NHIF that we must have a new scheme? And it was explained to us. It even made sense. Well, you know what we're going to do? There's this level where we'll be looking at people who previously were not covered, and it is free at level this and this of our system. Then at level this and this kicks in, blah, blah, blah. We said, all that is very good. But what about people who are in NHIF and have paid, fully paid up? What do they do? Transition, blah, 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 blah.
Register on the
blah, 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 yes. Okay, are we piloting this thing? No. We've got everything. The director was here. Are you piloting this thing? No. You see, the thing is, the way we worked out this thing, the pilot is not necessary. The pilot is not necessary.
Now look where we are. Look where we are. Meanwhile, let's just even say that there are only 10 million people that are registered on NSF and that we're going to make a transition from NHIF to SHA. Today, as of 30th of September, only 2,300,000 had been moved. So fully paid up member or not?
Well, the papers are saying that people are now more or less being forced to register.
The regulations say registration is compulsory, but the communication in between is what's not clear. Because, people take it like, why am I being forced to register? Why do I have to register? This is a conversation that should have happened throughout for 2 months across all platforms, even chiefs' barazas. A chief calls a baraza, bringing the local med soups. Let the governors also, in every meeting that they're going to say, this is what's going to happen.
What do you expect you to do?
Yes.
Those who are NHIF, come and register here, come and do this here. But they had all the time to do all this.
They had the time. They had all the time.
And what does the ministry tell us? We had the theory about what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But now the practice seems to be something completely different.
That's what's the problem.
And yet, money is going to be deducted.
Of course.
Yes, no.
Of course. Let me tell you about this plan to kill Kenya Power's monopoly, all right? So there's some regulations that were drafted by the Ministry of Energy and APRA. They are called the Electricity Market Bulk Supply and Open Access Regulations 2024. The draft was published in February for public scrutiny. Now, those regulations are being fine-tuned before they are sent to the Attorney General for final review and gazettement. The regulations, when enforced, will allow private companies to mobilize cash for power generation, transmission and distribution of bulk electricity to private retailers who will ensure last-mile connectivity and billing. We are fast-tracking them to ensure that we have open access to our transmission and distribution networks to deepen supply in our country and electricity power markets within the East Africa Power Pool. Trading within the EAPP is expected to start in the first quarter of 2025. Now, this East Africa Power Pool is where power regulations will open cross-border power trade among 7-nation East Africa Community Bloc, enabling economies with excess capacity to offload it through the regional power market. Kenya currently taps excess hydroelectric power from Ethiopia and Uganda. So now what the regulations will allow is they'll allow a company to come up and just be a generator, another company to be a transmission company, another company to be a last-mile retail company, okay? So you can buy your power from whoever. Same way you're doing with, for example, internet connectivity at home.
I'm supposed to believe this when I'm seeing the shambles of the Shah. And I'm supposed to listen to this and believe that this is going to work.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe it. So
this one just allows private sector to come in.
No.
It's not the government doing it.
No.
So once the regulations are in place.
Bro. The moment, this is me. The moment I hear of some plans to make some major changes, bas. That's all I need to know. We have a problem. I don't need to be told anything else.
Ati sasa stima itakuwa ikiingia kwangu unachagua
hata mimi naweza
mita ya Kenya Power ama mita ya CT.
Yes. Or mimi CT naweza kugenerate power yangu binafs and then I use it binafs and I can sell to my neighbors.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah. In a 10 kilometer radius, you have generated and you sell to.
You see what happens with
people
internet
down the road
at home. There are people who have directly, they're buying from Safaricom Home Fiber, for instance.
Yes, there are.
Others are buying from these other companies.
Yes.
Others are buying from retailer. This retailer has bought in bulk.
Yes.
And then they have found a way of distributing it to your home.
Kabza.
So you pay this one guy called CT Monanchi.
Yes.
And he's the one you pay your bills to.
Yes.
Something is looking now. That's a picture for power.
Yes. Yes.
Say yes one more time.
Yes. Go on.
So if it's happening with the internet, what happened with power?
Internet at no point was owned by government. Okay.
Internet was owned by power, by Posta.
Internet, let me start again.
Internet?
At no point was internet owned by government.
Internet was owned by Posta. Then it came now kina companies like, what was the first one? Mwananchi Online. And then they started, dealing with, but they're also buying now bulk power from Posta.
Okay, let me start again.
Through Longonot
yes, and that which was set up in the previous century, etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
But the reason why we are talking about something which is completely different, when players like the people we now know, the one which begins with the S, another one begins with the A, okay, came into the fold, and others came from God knows where, okay? That process was already segmented, okay?
It started off that way.
Yes. It wasn't this one of a massive monopoly, which we are used to working with and has been going in a certain direction. Then you're now being told we are grafting something new. Akuna. Akuna. Those who have faith can continue believing.
You refuse.
Me, I'm of little faith.
You refuse. If you go to informal settlements in Nairobi, them they're already used to that.
Proper.
Them they buy their power from a guy.
I'm a mama nani.
Yeah. My friend.
They don't know.
My friend.
They buy their water from so and so.
It is that one I understand. And I understand perfectly. This is called legal connections. I've understood perfectly. This one that they are saying. Please. I'm very specific. This one, which we are being given. If the picture is a bit muddy, then I might say it can work. This picture is so clear and the benefits are so obvious. Were they not obvious and clear for Shah?
Yes, so my brother.
Did you not look and say, yeah, this one can help?
This is very good.
This one is good. Eh? What are you dealing with now?
Chaos.
So?
Teething problems.
We have Ketrako. There'll be other Ketrakos. There'll be Kengen. We already have. There'll be other Kengens.
There'll be IPPs.
Okay.
They'll be the ones who come and regulate how much you can sell this power.
Yes.
How do you come and tell me I'm the one who's generating my thing?
So all these guys, they'll be meter reader.
The regulator will set the base prices.
Yeah, they can set. It's all right. But at the rate they're going, you'll also have another regulator. And then you'll have power meter readers. Okay?
Yeah.
This one. Guys who've set up their company to do this thing, they've already set up.
Hapa in Syokimau, by the way,
you'll
find there are meter readers who come and read your meter and they bill you for water. And they are not Mavwasco. It's a guy with a borehole who is reticulating water and selling to his neighbors. True?
True.
So
this thing, city, simple.
I'm alive and I'm in Kenya. When it happens, say I will see. Then I will eat humble pie and say I was wrong.
In the meantime,
forget it.
Aya, but your story.
Yeah, I'm looking at some. Anyway, there was a story that I saw. Wait, it's just Business Daily. Okay. Hustler loan set targets defaulters M-Pesa airtime. Okay. Why I've chosen this story is for a very simple reason. Okay. The Hustler loans, the amount and what we were told they were purpose for, were actually never achieved. All we kept being told was just the amount that had been borrowed.
Yeah.
Huge amounts that had been borrowed. All right? And then we were told of the default rate. All these things were being told.
Yeah.
Clarity as to the numbers, what they borrowed it for, what people said they were going to do. Because when you borrow, you say what you're going to do with it. Okay? Even one success story, maybe they're there. I just never heard or read about any. But when you now say that they're targeting defaulters, M-Pesa, and airtime, okay, what you're telling us is this, that for some reason, you have now decided that the money which was supposed to have been refunded through the business that these people were supposed to do did not come through. So they defaulted. But these aren't the only defaulters we have. If you look at the defaulters and the list of defaulters, even with established financial institutions, it has not gone down in the country. It has gone up. Yes. So the defaulting is not so much a factor of someone not wanting to pay. It is a factor of what is happening in the economy. So even businesses that ordinarily would make money are not making money, which also means that the individuals who borrowed may have started well and may have wanted to actually pay. For all we know, they even paid. Then they got to a point they could not pay. Because to address this matter of the Hustler Fund and the Hustler Loan defaulters, you must address the larger picture of borrowing in Kenya and the default rate, that we keep talking
across
about.
the market.
That really is the issue at hand.
I think with the Hustler Fund, and I have absolutely no evidence or anything to stand on, but I have a feeling that of the 7 billion shillings that has been defaulted so far, there may be some 3 billion shillings that's genuinely people who borrowed and were unable to pay, or they refused to pay or something. But there could be some 4 billion shillings that was already earmarked for default.
Yep. Yes, no.
It was prescribed.
It was budgeted from the beginning.
There's some money here that,
that Kenyans didn't borrow.
This fund was being disbursed by an entity that didn't have a board, as required by law, that didn't have a CEO, as required by law. Now we have an acting CEO. 2 years in, an acting CEO. When initially this fund was being disbursed, who was managing it? The PS was very busy running the ministry. The minister was very busy running the ministry. So who was doing the day-to-day management?
It was supposed to be a board.
And we were told that, it is automated, it is a system, it is all those things.
So here we are. And you're talking about institutions who have boards, who have all those checks and balances, and the defaulters rate list keeps going up. So this is not something unique to the Hustler loans. It is a problem that we have with the economy, and the defaulters are not going to go down so long as the state of the economy is what it is right now. So the issue of looking for people's money to repay this, instead of telling us the plans you have for setting the economy right, because everything that I hear so far is we'll borrow more. Borrowing is what put us in this situation in the first place. So now we want to borrow more. And then somehow this is going to sort us out, is it?
Talking about poverty, we'll be discussing poverty and addressing poverty and the challenges across the country. We'll be joined by a guest who comes in the next hour. Plus, we'll tell you how you can win how much 3,000 shillings courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber, right? So subscribe to Safaricom Home Fiber or pay your latest bill for Safaricom Home Fiber, depending on the package that you've chosen, whether it's bronze, whether it's silver, whether it's gold, whatever, right? And we'll tell you the benefits that you get out of it. This is Kenya's biggest conversation at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. All parliamentary activities will be suspended from tomorrow to Monday next week to facilitate public participation in the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Speaker Moses Wetangula says that clerks will oversee the whole process across the counties.
The House Business Committee has addressed this issue during its meeting this afternoon and approved a program of public participation across the country to be coordinated from the 47 counties. The clerk shall communicate the full details of the program for the information of the public through print and electronic media advertisements to run from tomorrow, 2nd October 2024. The public participation will be undertaken on Friday, 4th October 2024. Consequently, all other parliamentary activities previously scheduled between Thursday, 3rd until Monday, 7th October 2024 shall be suspended.
Gachagua is further expected to appear before the National Assembly on Tuesday next week and respond to the accusations levelled against him.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is entitled to appear before the House in person through a legal representative or both during consideration of the motion. Noting that the special motion shall be considered on 8th October 2024, I have directed that the Deputy President be notified of his right to appear on the said date and the allocation of time from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Kibwezi West MP Mwingi Mutuse, who filed the impeachment motion against him, said it was necessitated by the fact that he violated various acts of the Constitution.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under sections 45(1), section 46, section 47A(3), section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. by using his office to unjustly enrich himself, by using his office to acquire within 2 months properties well beyond 5.2 billion. And Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate before this House that during the presidential debate, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua did declare that he was worth 800 million.
And Makueni Senator Don Manzo now wants President William Ruto to be impeached together with his deputy. Manzo, while tabling his censure motion against the president, asked like-minded members of parliament to table an impeachment motion against the head of state.
I am aware also that the attempt to impeach the deputy president has created a lot of commotion in the country. And similarly, a lot of Kenyans have expressed that if you're going to impeach the deputy president, then impeach the president too, popularly known as Kufa Ndereva Kufa Makanga. And therefore, I believe quite a number of members of parliament also who are displeased with these moves and who have enough grounds to impeach the president are also going to move a motion to impeach the president.
Manzo has also criticized the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, for interfering with the impeachment motion, insisting that he should be fair.
I'm aware also the Speaker made statements in relation to the impeachment of the Deputy President in Machakos, whereby as an arbiter, as a referee, you cannot determine which team is winning even before the game begins. And therefore, that also calls for action, so that we all act within the Constitution and that we follow the law, we abide the rule of law, so that the country can be managed better.
Dr. Adhiambo, the main suspect in the murder of model and LGBTQ activist Edwin Kiptoo, well known as Chiloba, has denied being involved in his murder. Odhiambo has told Judge Ruben Nyakundi of the Eldoret High Court that he got the news about Chiloba's death with such surprise that he fainted. He has explained about the night of December 31st, 2022, when he was with Chiloba in various clubs in Eldoret before going to their room, and a few days later he got the sad news of his death.
At that time I was already getting drunk and he was also getting drunk. We took pictures, videos, and the friends told us that they are going to Tamasha later in the night to cross over the year.
That's the news wire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, at a few minutes after 7 o'clock, getting into traffic hour, it is starting to get heavy on the Eastern Bypass. On the North Airport Road, we'll not see too much happening, but it's going to come in heavy from the Eastern Bypass, giving us something to think about. Okay, on Kangunda Road as well, heavy traffic touching on Outer Ring, and the Thika Superhighway is starting to build with traffic coming in from Garden City out towards the city. All right, and on Ngong Road, that's already starting. Kikuyu Road is giving towards Ngong Road, Naivasha Road, all of these areas, and it is a build-up that we see. Magadi Road, busy as well. We'll get onto Langata Road with some traffic as you approach Raila Odinga Way, and then towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. So all this we see starting to pick up as we're getting into traffic hours soon. Keep your wits about. Let us know what's going on where you are. We'll talk. SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room the only way to start your day.
7 after 7, how are you doing? Welcome to the second day of October 2024. We are heading closer and closer to Christmas, and we are getting ourselves ready. Christmas is coming. Huh? Utapatwa tu hapa and you're not ready. Be prepared. Now listen, when we talk about looping and looping everything through your life and looking at a lifestyle, we mean very many things. We mean, for example, you are thinking of, you've for a long time thought of starting a business. You for a long time thought of getting into something new. You for a long time, but because you have so much time, sometimes you're not sure how much money you have, how you're consolidating your resources, where you shall get the extra capital from, and all those, you have not moved. Now, NCBA decided, you know what, we are in the business of making life easier for people. How about we create an app that goes beyond being an app, where you just go and interact with an app. We create an app that actually gets into your life and becomes your lifestyle. And they called it Loop. And they say, Loop makes it easier for you to think and to act. You're thinking of doing something, you can act because Loop will help you. Mm-hmm. Loop will give you all the information that you need. Loop will help you to transact right there. Loop will help you get access to loans easily. You don't have to go and queue the bank and start saying, oh, sijui lete title ya mama yako, sijui, as long as you run an account with Loop, you qualify for a loan, and then the app can just tell you how much.
Absolutely. It's just a loop, really, what it is. That you don't have to leave the comfort of your wherever, your desk, your office, even in your vehicle. You can imagine making sure that everything is done. Yeah. Whether you're an individual who's making sure that you're paying your utility bills here and there, or you're a business where you can actually advertise your business right on this app, and everybody sees what you do. You can make your payments, you can get your things done. Really a technical way of doing things just because you download the app. How do you do that? The Google Play Store or Apple App Store. See, I got it right this time. You download it and you start to move. Download. There's some money in it for you too as well.
And then guess what happens? You're now in the loop.
Nice one, City. Nice one. City is back, as you can hear, and he's enjoyed himself in those 4 weeks, City? It's been a long time, but you just
so that you can be happy and make it 5.
Been like a month.
Yeah, it's just been a long time, but you've been chilling and enjoying yourself.
Oh, yes. Yes.
All right. Our guest for the next hour is Dr. Mary Muyunzu Ayomongo, who is... She is the founder director of what many things. Mary, what is it?
Just you massacred my name.
Okay, say it.
Amuyunzu Nyamongo.
There you
Mary.
go.
Yes.
There you go. Mary Amuyunzu Nyamongo. I'm sorry, I said Ayamongo.
You said many things.
Too many things.
Too many things.
So here we go again. Our guest for the next hour is Dr. Mary Amuyunzu Nyamongo. She is the founder, director, and technical advisor at AIHD, African Institute for Health and Development. And she'll be here so we can talk about what you've been doing and your mantra, which is an Africa where people live in dignity.
Yes.
Aha. You'll tell us more about it. City is back. He has been away.
Okay.
While he was away, he was enjoying himself. One of the things that City likes to do is to read, to talk to his friends, those who are in Kenya and his relatives abroad.
And yes, relatives abroad. Oh, sorry.
Overseas.
Okay.
Even those in islands in the Lake Victoria.
They are overseas.
They're also overseas.
We know these guys.
Yes. And also, he watches a lot of content.
Okay.
One thing that he'll tell you is that all these things have been made very much easier because he has internet at home. Okay. Reliable internet at home, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber. Okay, so for example, he was watching movies. Anything for City is a movie, whether it's National Geographic movie, whether it's a series movie,
documentary,
whether it's a documentary movie. Even if he's watching football movie, he's watching news or live from Parliament movie.
You know, in our years when we were young, we are almost close, right? Everything was a movie.
Yeah.
So we didn't have...
You called them pictures.
We call it, no, movie, cinema.
See, people are moving in it.
Movie. So Safaricom Home Fiber has made life very much easy for
him.
City. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he actually can take time off and not leave home.
Okay.
Because, well, he's at home. He's actually interacting with everybody that you'd have interacted with. Without having to I am now going to travel so that I can come and spend 2 hours with you and then travel back home. No. No. Wake up, ni video link. Wanaongea.
Sawa,
Like
sawa.
that. And that's Safaricom Home Fiber.
Okay.
Yeah? You should also consider it.
So in the islands of Lake Victoria, you are watching movies.
Believe me, on those islands, it's very strange, but connectivity is very clear.
Okay.
Very good.
Sawa.
City will give you the day's proverb. Every week he goes to an African country, he brings us proverbs. Now, he's going to give you a proverb from the Gambia. Your job, listen to the proverb and give us your interpretation of that proverb.
Okay.
Okay.
Was that part of the idea here?
Yeah, it was part of the brief.
Okay.
He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a cold, very cold ground.
Okay, from an anthropological interpretation, it means if you living on borrowed time, it will not be comfortable. If you don't own what you're using, you are at risk of being embarrassed. So it can be very cold. That's an anthropological interpretation. CT, what did the Gambians tell you? How did they interpret it for you?
Exactly the way you interpret it.
Okay. So I wore my anthropological hat. And that's what I thought it meant. That if you are living on borrowed items, if what you're doing really doesn't suit you, it's time to move on to something that suits you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The problem is sleeping on that mat and forgetting it's borrowed.
Yes. And being comfortable.
Yes. When the owner comes for it,
yeah,
it means all along you didn't have a mat.
And you will hit the person. That's
Yes.
how you surely. Hata angenipatia notice.
Yes. Lakini ulikuwa umeomba.
The fact at the moment you borrowed, that was notice.
Yes.
Mary, tell us about AIHD.
Okay, so as you heard, I'm the founder director of the African Institute for Health and Development. We started this organization in 2004. I'm an anthropologist, so I did my initial studies, my first degree at the University of Nairobi. I graduated in 1989. And then I worked for KEMRI, for Kenya Medical Research Institute, for 7 years. And during that period of time, I did my PhD. STEM in anthropology from the University of Cambridge in the UK. And from KEMRI, I then joined AMREF Health Africa, where I did work on reproductive health, and then moved on to Population Council, and then did 2 years with the African Population and Health Research Center based here in Nairobi. But during that time, I was burdened with the fact that we do research, but does that research really inform our programs? Are we generating evidence that is used for programs? And secondly was, are we able to inform policy, engage at the policy level with the kind of work we do? So essentially, in 2004, the burden to also just start a Kenyan institution. A lot of these NGOs are started externally, and so I decided it's time. Let me start something, an institution where we provide dignity to our people. Ill health and poverty are dehumanizing. So we talk to people about, do you understand nutrition? Your child is malnourished. And a mother tells you, yes, I know, because I can't afford food. I know what to give my child, but how do I go about getting the right ingredients to feed my child if I'm poor? In this country, as we speak, 15 counties are still practicing open defecation, really, in 2024. And so some of these really burden me, and I've worked a lot in the poverty space where we see a lot of diseases that are poverty diseases. Eric, if you know, we still have burdened with the intestinal worms, mignon. There was an advert when we were younger where they were asking, Siti uko na minyo? Eric uko na minyo? Nasema, mimi siwezi kuwa na minyo.
Je, Manduka, uko na minyo?
Uko na minyo? That one. And so, just to recognize that you can actually eliminate minyo through simple actions such as access to clean water, use of latrines. And yet, in 2024, 25 million Kenyans are at risk of intestinal worms. If you go to Western Kenya, a high population is at risk of bilharzia, which is a water-related disease. And so, as we think about poverty and as we think about dignity, we just realize that some of these conditions really require more investment in prevention, a bit of investment in and a lot of investment in education where people know what to do, but at the same time, just investments in these key infrastructural investments that really would make a difference. And so from 2004, we have, I was the executive director for the institution for 13 years, and in 2017, I stepped aside for two reasons. One, when you start an institution, the risk of you overstaying your usefulness is really high. So step aside, you assess the viability of the institution. You also bring in people with new vision. Since 2004, by 2015, your vision is beginning to get a bit old, and you just need new people, new blood in the system so that they can run the organization. But I stayed on as a technical advisor to the institute. We do a lot of work currently in neglected tropical diseases. I talked about schistosomiasis earlier, which is bilharzia. I've talked about soil-transmitted ehrlichiosis, intestinal worms, these Muzungu names. We also work on elephantiasis, which is lymphatic filariasis, which affects mainly the coastal region. We do work on trachoma and other neglected tropical diseases. They are called neglected because, one, they affect mainly the poor and the vulnerable, and two, because access to treatment and test kits is limited because of the numbers of people affected. So over the years, Kenya as a country has committed to eliminating some of these diseases. We have leprosy, which is an old disease that we all know about. In the past, we used to have what we call African sleeping sickness, African trypanosomiasis, which is now we are eliminating as a country. Onchocerciasis, river blindness, was also endemic in the Western Belt. We are assumed to have eliminated it in 1950s through vector actions, but we're now seeking to be certified for elimination. So that's one part of what the institution does. We work with the Ministry of Health. We also work in partnership with the other NGOs, including AMREF, Health Africa, Kenya Wash Alliance, and others. Another piece of work we do, which is interesting, is on non-communicable diseases. And all of us know. I think even you here, you know somebody who has cancer, diabetes, hypertension, or we are raising money for a patient. And over the last 10 years or so, we've seen a real increase in all areas of NCDs. And again, we go back to lifestyle, we go back to prevention, we go back to access to treatment. Currently, I'm the national chair of the NCD Alliance of Kenya, which is an NGO that brings together alliances and professional organizations, professionals working in NCDs. And so as a country, this is an area of need where we are seeing children with sickle cell, children with type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes is on the rise. And some of these are really due to lifestyle. Mental health is also another area that has, we are beginning to recognize that it's important for us to focus on mental health. Recently, there was a young doctor who committed suicide. I think when you begin to lose professionals to mental illness, then as a country we need to sit back and ask ourselves, what are we doing to safeguard the lives of these people? Right. So many things. Do you have a question for me before I continue? I can continue rambling for an hour.
It's interesting that even as the work that you do are looking towards, development markers, milestones, crossing over, which is very important. But then in order to find solutions to some of these things, I think that understanding of why then is very important. I'm looking at some of the things that you talk about and some of the words that you're using: risk, poverty, health, these issues, that in 2024 there's still some problems that we have that in my opinion we shouldn't. Why do we still have such high levels of underdevelopment in these sectors at this stage? Why?
I think it's a question that we should all be asking. Under the MDGs, we made good progress towards attaining some of the MDGs, but we still have high deficiency of water, access to clean water. We still have deficiency with sanitation and hygiene. And I think when you think about our investments as a country, are we investing in prevention? Even at the county level, when county governments and our governors took over, even within the health sector, we saw a lot of buildings. If you go to Homa Bay, I'm sure you're aware of our western region, which I'm very familiar with. We saw a lot of construction, hospitals. We saw a lot of infrastructural investments. How much are we investing in water? How much are we investing in food and nutrition? How much are we investing in facilities that would help people be physically active, if you're looking at NCDs? So you have a lot of questions around what are we as a country investing in. Even if you go to a health facility, if I go back to the NCDs, just screening for diabetes, screening for hypertension, screening for other conditions that if they are caught early, we can actually deal with them. And then the other elements are around how we are understanding community level contexts that predispose people to some of these conditions. How are we dealing in mental health? How are we dealing with stigma? How are we dealing with making sure that people who have these conditions really get adequate care? So I think, Eric, if you look around our country, we speak, we act well, but when it comes to the actual investments in areas that would make a difference, then there is a gap.
So have you been able to establish why? Because like you said, you painted that picture very well and talked about your own research and working with the research institutions, and what was paining you was seeing the bulk of good research coming out of the communities, but then there's a huge gap between that and programs. And you said, let's form this institute that then bridges this gap. But were you able to establish why there's this gap? Why is it that our research, because there is plenty.
There's plenty.
Why is it that research does not inform policy, does not inform programs?
I'm not even sure that it doesn't inform policy or programs. There's a lot of policies in this country. There's a policy on everything.
Yes.
Latiff, there's a policy on pesticides. There's a policy on environment. There's a policy on cancer. There are policies on... They are really good policies. The biggest challenge we have is the link between policy and implementation. And so if, for instance, we know, we even on the Sustainable Development Goals, we have signed off them. We are talking about increasing access to water. We are talking about eliminating NTDs. We are part and parcel of that process. But if we still have deficiencies in hygiene, if we still have households that do not have access to water, if women are working 2 hours in Turkana to get to water, how much of that water is used at the domestic level? So unless we really, and we know That's why in this country we have open defecation-free activities. Why? Because we know that if we deal with hygiene, if we resolve this issue, we'll resolve the issues of neglected tropical diseases, a lot of the waterborne diseases. And therefore, I think the gap is in implementation. And
yet,
this is, yes.
And yet,
yes,
the preventative aspect of healthcare is a lot cheaper.
Yes.
Than the curative.
But how much do we put on prevention?
How much do we actually spend? Let's talk about the holistic look at what is spent on health, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You actually got it right. When you talk of buildings, it's not just a structure. It is where money can be expended. Okay?
Yes.
Now, buildings don't cure people. Buildings don't make people well. And if you're talking about the fundamentals of public health, you don't actually need those buildings to ensure that these things get done. The question I would ask is, for each of those huge structures that you put up in, say, the county headquarters, how many clinics that would actually meet the needs of the individual in those far-flung places within the county could that money have put up?
Yeah, but when you bring up that issue, even within, let's even move from the structures, of the health budget, how much is allocated to prevention? So how much goes to curative and how much goes to prevention? And that's where the disconnect begins. If, for instance, 5% goes to prevention, let's even say 15%, which is very high. The only time in this country where we had a focus on prevention was when we had the two ministers, if you remember. You had
health,
the medical...
Public health and medical services.
Yes. And then we had a lot more focus on public health. But over time, and you realize this, that even for hypertension and cancer cases, by the time people get to a facility, it's already too late. We are always told it's already too late.
Yep.
How would you capture it earlier? One is a health facility issue, but the other issue is just access to screening, educating, providing information to families. As Africans, we are also very scared of going to just to screen.
Just because what if it's there?
You go to hospital, you are well. I just want you to look at, check me out, make sure I'm okay. Especially men, they do not do that very easily. We have opportunities, especially if we have kids, to go. But just encouraging, sensitizing communities and individuals to just go for screening is something that has shown, if it's caught early, if you go into a facility and you are pre-diabetic, then you are able to prevent. Or if you go early, you are able to deal with it. But by the time we are seeking healthcare, it's too late. And even when we go to the health facility, the readiness of the health facility to support you is limited because of the infrastructural deficiencies we have in some of our facilities. So it's a whole continuum of missing links, gaps in the systems that continue to bedevil our health in this country.
Everybody knows.
And we know.
Right?
Yes.
Everybody who's in a decision-making position knows. Yeah. But now we are just unable to move. Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation shortly at 29 minutes to 8. Our guest is Dr. Mary Amuyunzu Nyamongo.
Yes.
She's the founder director. Right. Good. I learned first.
You're a first learner.
Yeah. Founder, director, and technical advisor at AIHD, which is the African Institute for Health and Development. We are talking about policy formulation for poverty, health, and social protection. What do we need and how do we need to get there? Think about it as we continue this conversation. Also, think about your ease of mind. One of the things that we're talking about is, like you said, Dr. is peace of mind. Peace of mind, mental wellness.
Yes.
If you are in a position where, in a moment where you are making an emergency call and then you realize that you don't have sufficient airtime, that gives you mental anguish and you don't want that. You're in that moment when you want to send a message, an urgent message, and then you realize you don't have sufficient airtime. That is not a good point to be. And that's why Safaricom have said, okay, let's create one all-in-one package. 30 days, you pay in advance, and you're sorted for the next 30 days. Just looking at what is your consumption pattern. What they included in all-in-one is data, talk minutes, SMSs, and then they throw in free WhatsApp. Okay? So you're able to communicate with free WhatsApp. Just select your package. How do you get there, Andu?
You dial star 544 hash. You will then see the number 4, which is Go Monthly. From there, you will then see the all-in-one plan. All-in-one packages will give you many options to choose from. There's one great one. It's 2,000 bob, and you get 1,000 minutes of talk time. CT, can you talk for 1,000 minutes?
In a month?
In a month. You can talk for 1,000 minutes.
No, you can watch movies.
1,000 minutes. 2,000.
For that, you get 17.
You get 17 GB of data to watch your movies.
That's a lot of GB.
Your documentary movies, your news movies, your movie movies.
That's a lot of GB.
Soccer movies.
Yeah, soccer movies. And then you can send the links of those movies to your friends to watch on your free WhatsApp. Okay. So many things that you can do.
You subscribe to that and you don't miss Kachagua's impeachment.
There you go. That movie as well.
We'll be back shortly. Keep it here.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Save money on your rising electricity bill with StarTime Solar Home Solution. We offer a complete home and commercial energy saving system that includes solar panels with 15-year warranty, lithium battery with 10 years warranty, and an inverter with 5 years warranty. StarTime Solar Home Solution is efficient, reliable, and safe to power essential appliances, complete home lighting, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, microwaves, iron box, instant shower, and entertainment devices, television, computers, Wi-Fi, and so much more. Say yes to reduced electricity bills and call us today on 0719 077 777 and get started on your green energy journey today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Partly sunny conditions in Nairobi, 16 degrees. We see highs of 24 and highs of 25 in a sunny Nakuru at 14. It's 16 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 23. The sun is up at 17 with highs of 23 and lows of 13 in Eldoret. It's a sunny day in Mombasa, currently at 25. We'll see highs of 30 and highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi. It's 20 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 29 in Kakamega, where it's currently 18 degrees. 18 in Kampala with highs of 30, while at 30, that will be the high in Dar es Salaam, where it is currently 24. 4 degrees, sunny conditions in Johannesburg with highs of 21, and it's sunny at 27 in Mogadishu with highs of 31. Cloudy at 15 in Addis Ababa, going to highs of 21 and lows of 12, while in Lagos it is cloudy at 26 with highs of 31. Kinshasa at 24 is clear with highs of 32 and lows of 24.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life.
Traffic on Langata Road today is something, and going all the way past that Magadi Road junction out towards the barracks and then through Uhuru Gardens out towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. Okay, so Langata Road is busy. There we've established. Let's take a quick look at what's happening on the Thika Superhighway. Traffic is coming in from Garden City heavy through to Survey, and Limuru Road is coming in hot as well. Coming in from Lower Kabete towards Spring Valley is not too bad. I think we'll do okay there for a while. Let's take a quick look at James Gishuru. Not too crazy traffic like we saw the other day, but the roundabout has quite some going towards Red Hill. And then Red Hill coming out towards Waiaki Way. We'll get you through to Westlands with some traffic. Ring Road, Kileleshwa, and rather Ring Road Westlands doing that crazy thing again this morning. Keeping an eye on everything today. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversation with Dr. Mary Nyamongo continues as we talk about poverty, health, and all, and the link between that city. Who was Joseph of Arimathea?
Joseph was this guy when Jesus was walking to that place called Golgotha. Okay? He told him, hold. this thing's a bit heavy. Let me help you carry it. And he helped him carry it.
Carried the cross.
That was Joseph. Yes.
Do you know Joseph of Kafete?
Yosefu. Asha.
Joseph of Kafete.
Asha.
Joseph of Kabete is somebody who is now in the loop. Okay?
Is he now?
Joseph has downloaded the Loop app and he has started getting into the lifestyle of Loop. And Joseph, yesterday, sent us a screenshot of his transaction on Loop. Took the screenshot, sent it to us on our social media. And just because of that, he's getting 2,500 shillings into that account. Hivo. Immediately. Joseph of Kabete. That's the guy. So do you want to get 2,500 today? Well, you can do that. Just transact with Loop. So send us a screenshot of your transaction. Do whatever. There are very many things that you can do.
In fact, just even
download the app. Send us a screenshot. Show us a bit of a transaction in it. Just downloading and just staying with it there doesn't help anyone, right? So just show us something.
Use it for heaven's sake.
Use it. Just try it out, okay?
Yes.
And then
give it a spin.
We'll add you 2,500 into that account.
So that you can spin a little more.
Simple as that.
Yes.
Simple.
Since you have given Joseph, we should give Mary also.
Mary, we don't only hear you. We see you. Download it.
Oh, I download Loop.
Once you've downloaded it, transact, screenshot. The rest, as we have said, is easy peasy.
Okay. I'm on it.
Very good. We are still in this conversation, on how we then link every bit of knowledge that we have into actual realization of programs that make sense, that mean something. In these many years since 2004 when you started AIHD, what have you seen in terms of difference? Is it communities that did not know? Is it because we've had arguments coming from people, especially politicians, that if I put my budget on preventive, people do not see what preventive it is. And somebody else goes and builds a hospital. The guy who builds a hospital gets more mileage than this one who decided that, I'm putting my money into cutting grass, into draining swamps, into doing all those things. Is it a lack of knowledge by the people or a lack of connection? Or is it, why is this? I'm still trying to figure out what's our problem.
Yeah, it's a big question. I think politicians are one segment of players in this, and the administrators, the decision makers within the health system are another player. You have the NGOs, you have the communities themselves, and so I think is a meeting of minds at some point where we consider prevention and health promotion as key strategies. And I think we've come around. We are beginning to recognize a lot more the value of prevention, especially when it comes to, and we've seen a bit more of this within the NCD space, the non-communicable space, where screening is getting a little bit more normalized in some settings, where people living with NCDs have really come up as a group to begin to encourage other people to adopt more preventive lifestyles. We've seen, especially in urban areas, when you wake up a bit early, like you come here very early, you'll see a lot of people now taking up physical activity. So at an individual level, we are seeing a lot more consciousness towards healthy living. But the other challenge we're having is now increased access to poor quality foods. We buy air for children, those yellow things in packets. We are a little bit more...
What are those?
Those little yellow things you buy for children in the supermarkets, those crisps and other things.
Oh, that are full of air. 80%
full
air.
Of air. It's 80% air.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
So those really are... those are some of the challenges we're beginning to see that are permeating our diets, especially for young people, that are potentially harmful for health. So so you've seen some positivity, but when it comes to, if you're looking at the risk factors for non-communicable diseases, we're seeing an uptake of physical activity, but we are also seeing a decline in terms of access to quality food, diets, and then alcohol use has just gone up also, new products within the tobacco space. And so the prevention agenda really needs to be stepped up so that we can control what needs to be controlled from a population level. And some of these things I could say I'll stop smoking, but it's not a population activity. It's a very individual action. And so from a population level, we need to look at some of these risks, some of these drivers to these diseases, and act on them collectively.
Right.
So we see Senator Muma has a bill on tobacco and especially the new products within the tobacco space. We are still grappling, Eric, with advertising of alcohol. The billboards in this country are just everywhere you go. Somebody's dancing with somebody and they're taking serious alcohol. I mean, what are we doing? What are we communicating to children? So there are gains, but we're experiencing quite a bit of losses.
But you asked a question.
Yes.
The budget that we have for prevention.
Yes.
10 years ago, there was a study done in the same Homa Bay County by a certain lady by the name of Professor Emariciana Onono.
Okay.
She is now the Deputy Director General at KEMRI. To ICCM, Integrated Case Management, Integrated Community Case Management, ICCM. They were trying to determine something very simple. How it is you could train community health volunteers to be able to diagnose and treat malaria, pneumonia, diarrhea.
Yes.
Okay? They trained 2,600 community health workers. The study took place 3 to 4 years. They were paying these community health volunteers a stipend of 2,000 shillings.
Per what?
Per month. Because they were volunteers just within their setting. That was just to help you move around, 2,000 shillings. Okay? The understanding was after the study was finished, the county government would be able to take over to pay just the 2,000. Okay? Now, what is of interest is just the numbers that they saw. The sum total was they actually prevented hospital attendance by 75%. Documented, meaning it worked. We now have people we call community health promoters who are trained. The same department, the same center that Mariciana belongs to in KEMRI also had a care and treatment program called the FACES program. Now they trained community health workers. They even had a curriculum for training them. And the understanding of how it is you can actually get lay people to understand just fundamentals that don't necessarily need you to go to medical school. Okay? The cost of maintaining these people was minuscule. The county of Homa Bay was not able to pay the 2,000 to keep these people, and they were trained.
Yeah.
Maybe now with the community health promoters that have come up, maybe they've been engaged, but they were all over. So that cost is not something that anybody can tell you they can't afford.
There is argument in terms of sustainability.
Really?
That is the argument. Has been an argument. But I think the Kenya government now is paying...
Mary.
Yes.
I know the argument.
Yes.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
Sustainability.
Yes. That's the argument.
If it is the lamest, weakest, lopsided argument I've ever come across. For a simple reason, you are looking at just the aspect of reducing people who actually come to hospital for this costly care. Not even complicated. At 2,000 bob a pop.
So the disconnect is the cost effectiveness. Have we really sat down and said, if we pay the community health promoters 2,000 a month,
that was 10
how
years
much?
ago.
No, the disconnect now from a policy making perspective. I agree with you. it's cost effective to have community health promoters or health workers being the first point of call for communities in terms of prevention, in terms of early diagnosis. That argument is done, we know. But have we said, if we do that at a national level, this is how much we'll prevent, this is how much we'll save from actually direct funding of health facilities. That argument is there. However, our funding, our health financing model is basically aligned towards curative. That is the
It is
gap.
purposefully aligned towards curative.
Why? By who? By the merchants?
No.
Is it commercial interests?
It is commercial interests, but it isn't by the merchants. It is by the policymakers. Because as Mary is speaking, I'm asking myself, if you have a study that has shown you that it stopped 75% of those who would have gone to hospital
did not go.
Surely, is it difficult to cost that saving? Is it really difficult? It is not difficult.
But see, now the government is actually supposed to pay community health promoters 2,000 shillings a month.
Yes.
That was 10 years ago. We are still paying them 2,000 shillings today. But it's something.
Okay.
If we pay it consistently, if you pay it long term, and you are, it's predictable for them. You see, the problem we have is this government will come in and say we'll pay every month 2,000. Will the next government continue that? Will we stop? Are all counties committed to doing this? We do mass drug administration for schistosomiasis and soil-transmitted ailments. We use community health promoters. So in the past, we've been paying. But are we now saying that because we have community health promoters, we can use them to distribute these drugs, which will make it cheaper and easier for us to access communities without having to pay extra to ensure that these programs run? That is the challenge.
Where exactly is the challenge? Because what you're saying, in an essence, seems to answer the question that is being asked. So where exactly do you say the challenge is?
I think the challenge has always been, in the long term, can the counties commit? Do they have resources to do this?
Do they have the will?
In the long term.
Do they have the will?
Do they have the will? But at the same time, we know our country. Would they have the resources to commit long term?
Okay.
The will to commit long term.
Sure.
I think we continue to ask these questions. We know it's beneficial. We know for human beings, if you prevent, then you are also preventing ill health among people. You are also building the human capacities in this country. But where is the gap?
Is it not a composite, though, Mary, of all of these things? That when you talk about priority making, when you talk about will, whether it's a political goodwill, whether you talk about the availability of resources, it's composite of all of these things. But then I struggle to be at a place whereby, again, I mean, I think one of the very first things that you've said has really stuck in my mind today. And I say, no, that we should not be there today.
Yeah.
We should not. And that availability of resources has usually been has carried the burden for what willpower and priority making should actually carry.
Yeah.
That unavailability of resources has been, the scapegoat for what the responsibility should be placed on these other two things. But really, we have a lot of the burden of healthcare being shouldered by external parties, by private organizations, yourself,
by
donors, until government, sorry to say, maybe not sorry, has gotten comfortable with not prioritizing something like healthcare. Look at some of the diseases that you speak of, which some countries forgot about decades ago, that we're still dealing with today. And that should not be the case. But then we blame it on this poster child of unavailability of resources. But it should not be the case. So the question is, do we really feel that nations, especially on this side of the divide, do we really feel that nations can actually take the burden that healthcare poses on society and deal with it?
Yes.
Can we?
I think I'm convinced we can. Over the years, I know for the diseases which we are interested in, we really donor dependent. That's the challenge in this country. Our health budget has been around 7% for a long time, national health budget. We signed off Abuja for 15%. We've never reached the 15%. Do we have the resources to do this? Yes. Can we do this? Yes. What amount of wastage within the health system? Again, the figures differ, but it's documented that of the money we get, a big proportion of it is not used at the end of the year. Some of it is wasted within the system. And so we just feel that if
or stolen,
if we put our act together, we can do better, Eric.
Have you engaged with governors?
Yes, all the work we do, we work with governors.
Okay.
And
when you sit across the table with governors, let's say, the Committee on Health or just individual governors, what do you read from them? What is their perception of the needs for health and the needs to direct investment in health?
When you speak to individuals, they recognize the need, and I'll be quick to say some counties have started putting resources, especially with neglected tropical diseases. We work in Kakamega, Busia, Kakamega, Trans Nzoia, Vihiga, and Bungoma. They have now allocated funds for neglected tropical diseases. It's 10% of the expenses towards distribution of the drugs. Some counties actually now procuring praziquantel for schistosomiasis as part of their essential drugs. So we are beginning to see recognition of the fact that this is a county problem. We need to see more, where counties are deliberate in terms of allocating resources for the health of their own people. So we are now focused on domestic resource mobilization, which means just having conversations with county governors, showing them the burden of disease. And some of these diseases, like soil transmitted helminths, people really didn't think it was a big issue. When we were growing up, you have mignon, you continue. But when you begin to see how it affects learning, retention in schools and all those things, then county governments are beginning to appreciate the need to invest in them. We need to see more of that. We need to see more attention to water and sanitation. We have 11 sub-counties that still have trachoma. We can deal with this. We can eradicate trachoma in 2024. We can eradicate soil transmitted mignon. We can eradicate schistosomiasis if we are focused on prevention. And the key prevention areas for those diseases is water and sanitation. And
can we not really look at it? I'm sorry. Can we not have running water? Can we not have latrines? Can we not have treated boreholes that will have piped water? Can we not have treated pans? Can we not?
We can. What is the problem, City? Why? The reader.
For me, it's the will. You know why? When you work with government entities, and you see the movement of the change of one head of a government entity, like say a county and another, and you see changes and you ask, did these people get a special allocation for funds? No, we get this allocation every year. So you start wondering, so what has been happening the other years if this allocation was available? Because this isn't a secret. That money is never used. Even though what is allocated first is never used for what it's intended. That's number one. Never. It is the reason why the Auditor General, year in and year out, keeps pointing out to billions of shillings, simply not being accounted for. The maths that I was doing about the 2,600 workers,
yes,
at 2,000 shillings, the sum total per month comes to 5.2 million.
Yes.
You're telling me a county that has a 6 billion budget cannot afford 5,200,000? Apana.
Come on.
Apana. That one, no. When you look at the travels that we keep talking about, they're in the hundreds of millions.
Priorities.
And precisely. Yes. So the question you asked, why I'm just summing it by saying the will. You see, if there's no will, there'll be no priority.
It's true.
Okay. There are people in the Ministry of Health whose area of speciality is costing.
Yes.
They can break this thing down to a T. So they know. It's not that they don't know. They do know. You have health economists who can prioritize these things for you and tell you and show you with great clarity what must be done.
What level of influence in decision making do those people have? Because it's the people who know
Yes.
are not the ones who make the decisions.
No.
They will pass in a paper and it will be among the very many
They
other
do what they're
papers.
supposed to do and then they hand it over.
They hand it over.
And if the person who's making a decision looks at this and says, Minyo,
Siata mimi nilikuwa na minyo. Nilikuwa narusha tu.
Or if I invest in Minyo, I'm insulting my people. You know, someone is looking at it politically.
Yes.
If I said we are running a Minyo program in my county,
Or jiggers.
people will be saying, ha, you need a county a Minyo. And the politician is not willing to be the one who's painted that way.
Yeah.
Or just not understanding and seeing the connection between the Minyo, the jiggers, and the disease burden. Or maybe they see it and they see that will make people keep coming and that will make me keep spending money on
people
cure.
in those positions of authority have a priority. They all want to become either millionaires or multimillionaires. They don't want to start businesses. They want to see how much they can pilfer. It's really not complicated. And everything they do, and that's why they put up buildings, because with buildings you can hype the cost, you can do all manner of things with it. And then they want to buy big equipment. Again, you can do all manner of things with it. And yet what you need is something so basic and which doesn't really cost that much. So, and then someone gives you an argument and says, you see, we're looking, man, you're given the runaround. Since independence, what we're seeing is a moving backwards. No, not even meeting the needs of what we have. You know, this community health that we talk about, there used to be there were people, public health practitioners, who'd come around to make sure that malaria,
local health.
Yes, they're called extension officers.
But I think for me, as we move forward, if we focus on the right investments, we need facilities, we need hospitals. But if we focus on prevention, as City has said, we can deal with almost.
We'll sort out everything.
We'll sort out a lot of the health problems so that we focus on when they get to a hospital, how best can we attend to them without having everybody come to the health facility. If you can deal with what he said, 75% of the issues at the community level, and the African Institute for Health and Development is really focused at community level.
Tops up our conversation this morning. Thank you very much for it.
Yes.
We'll be talking about policy formulation for poverty, health and social protection with our guest, Dr. Mary Nyamongo.
What happened to Amuyunzu now?
Amuyunzu bwana.
Amuyunzu Nyamongo.
She's the founder, director and technical advisor at the African Institute for Health and Development. 8 a.m. news time.
Thank you.
Good morning, this is the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Kenyans continue to raise concerns over the introduction of the new health insurance cover, SHA. Uasin Gishu County KMPDU Chair Darwin Mbuka and his Kuku counterpart Kamunzi Milei say the health insurance has a number of limitations as the money allocated to the cover isn't enough to provide Kenyans with proper health services.
Chief is coming to pay your dental cover at 950 shillings per year. Nani ana shida ya meno kwa inchi? You see, 950 cannot cater for dental services. 10,000 shillings cannot cater for antenatal, postnatal and prenatal services. A woman who's pregnant, you cannot limit their visit to the hospital at 2 times. No, NHIF was catering for our mothers comprehensively and carefully. Now you want to increase maternal mortality. You are reducing the aspect of tumor treatment.
And in Makueni Referral Hospital, Peter Wambua, who is a cancer patient, was forced to return home without treatment after not having enough money to cater for his services.
Hakuna njia nyingine, sina pesa ya kulipia naona nirudi nyumbani niende nikatafute pesa, sababu sina njia nyingine ya kufanya. Hiyo matibabu inatibiwa na hiyo kadi ya NHF na ni hiyo mandawa ya saratani. Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nakuja nipewe, alafu nikapata kuko na shida hiyo ya kufungwa kwa NHF. Niko na ungumu sababu sifanyi kazi mahali, ninakaa nyumbani, na hivyo naenda nyumbani kulilia watu wangu, nione kama watanisaidia na hiyo pesa nije kuanza hiyo matibabu.
A similar situation was witnessed at Migori County Hospital, where health workers were forced to send home patients who could not afford paying for their treatment using cash.
We've met a lot of challenges because we are perplexed that some of the things that the government was saying had not come by the first day of this SHA. Now the patients are coming, some of them were capitated here last quarter. Now there is no capitation. They've not been registered to SHA.
This is despite the government announcing that health services for cancer patients, those who are going to be getting services on dialysis, not being interrupted due to the transition. Dr. Adhiambo, the main suspect in the murder of LGBTQ activist Edwin Chiloba, has denied being involved in his murder. Appearing before Judge Ruben Nyakundi, Adhiambo said that despite them spending the night of December 31st, 2022 together, he came to learn about the news of his death a few days later.
At that time, I was already getting drunk and he was also getting drunk. We took pictures, videos, and the friends told us that they are going to Tamasha later in the night to cross over the year. So then they asked me, Macha Chiloba wapi? Amwambia me, we got home last night, started arguing about the girls I was dancing with at the club. Nikaona itakuwa maneno mingi and I left. So you left him in the house or outside? Nikamwambia niliacha kama ameingia na amekaa kwa kiti. Then they told me haujaona. I was in shock. I even fainted for about an hour and Celine picked me up.
Adhiambo has also denied allegations that he and Chiloba were lovers, despite the government's chemists' revelations that Adhiambo's DNA samples were found in Chiloba's body.
I'm a pure straight person and I'd never indulge myself in any sexual act with my fellow man.
Chiloba's decomposing body was found hidden in a metal box along Kipkenyo-Kaptinga Road in Kapseret on January 3rd, 2023. The case will continue on Tuesday next week. And finally, in the international scene, at least 23 people died in Thailand when a school bus carrying more than 40 students and teachers on a field trip caught fire in the outskirts of the capital, Bangkok. 23 bodies have been identified, with an investigation on the causes underway. That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
A busy morning in the city. Jogoo Road heading out towards Landis is busy, and we have some traffic coming off of Jogoo Road towards Likoni Road. It'll find its way then to whatever is happening right around here, getting onto Lusaka Road and then trying to get into the city. Lusaka is going to spill over towards Likoni at the interchange. Everybody trying to find the fastest way into the city this morning. Langata Road is bumper to bumper, proper. And it's coming in heavy all the way through towards Uhuru Highway. So that's one to deal with. Ngong Road is also doing the same thing. And we have some traffic then coming off Rhino Odinga Way, then touching on the City Mortuary roundabout. So there's also traffic coming off of the Thika Superhighway. That's heavy. Kiambu Road even heavier. Limuru Road doing crazy things here. Okay, so how about we look for where there's no traffic this morning? We could talk about that. Everywhere you go today, you'll find some of that. Mombasa Road, probably the only place where we don't have too much of that getting into the city until you get to Capital Centre. So we are in traffic hour proper this morning. Let's talk. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
7 after 8, how are you doing? Thank you for keeping it locked on SpiceFM, on KTN, on YouTube and Facebook and X and TikTok and Radio Garden and your podcast of choice. We are live on all those platforms every single weekday, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., bringing you Kenya's biggest conversation. For example, when we talk about biggest conversation, we also talk about the bigger things that happen in the country, big investments. An investment, for example, that over 10 years has netted over 500,000 subscribers to the Safaricom Home Fiber. And they say, because of that, things have changed. Because of the Safaricom Home Fiber, your children don't have to really think about it. How do I do my research for schoolwork? Because CBC now is telling us yes.
Do you have to go to a cyber cafe, for example? Yeah. Oh my goodness! Did you know that there was a thing called a cyber cafe?
Imagine. Now you just in fact, one of the things that we talk about nowadays about children coming to visit you, when your nephews and nieces come and visit you, the first thing they ask is, Atindu, what's your
Wi-Fi password?
Yep.
Exactly.
It's like that. And well, with over 40% market share, that tells you that it's likely going to be a Wi-Fi password for Safaricom Home Fiber router, because Safaricom is providing you with that service. Big thing.
Absolutely.
Big thing. Now, because of the kind of investment that they've made, Safaricom is actually now saying we are increasing the speeds on our home fiber connections, depending on your package. If you're in the bronze and you have been on this kind of speeds, we are increasing the speeds, and so on and so forth. We'll be telling you about the new speeds. All we tell you is, please, if you haven't subscribed to Safaricom Home Fiber, dial star what?
400 hash. Star 400 hash, then you can make a selection. What do you want? Do you want the bronze package? Do you want the silver package? Do you want the gold package? Do you want the platinum package? Do you want the diamond package? What is it that you want? What are your needs? Essentially, those needs will be met.
Yeah.
You will be connected. You can work, you can play, you can do whatever it is that you need to do that requires you to be on the internet.
Yep.
And also making it a lot more accessible for you. Like you said, Eric, Safaricom has made sure that the speeds have been increased to guarantee that you're never out. In the instance that you're out, and I just want to say that it was very interesting a couple of weeks ago where there was a bit of an issue, and I was like, okay, so what are we going to do now? Picked up the phone, immediately somebody said, you know what, there's a problem, we're working on it, we'll get back to you. Have you ever heard we'll get back to you? They never get back to you. But in this case, they did.
They actually do.
They get back to you, and everything gets back on track.
Sometimes, actually, even before you call, they send you a message. Dear customer, you're experiencing some internet challenges. Our team is working on it. And in the meantime, we are sending you data, your mobile phone, so you can use as we sort out this problem, right? So then you can, your homestead can hotspot from your phone. Those are the things that we talk about. Now, if you're like Eric and you've been told your subscription is due, just renew your subscription, okay? And if you renew your subscription and send us a screenshot, we can sort you out, by the way. 3,000 bob in terms of airtime we'll send to you today. And you can use that either to upgrade your subscription or to pay for the next one, or just to buy the all-in-one package, which we'll be telling you about. It's all about peace of mind. That's what we do in this country with everything else that's going on. To clear bandwidth ya kudeal na hizi vitu zingine. Yeah. So for example, let's talk about wealth creation. And wealth creation is, it's a cliche, wealth creation. Even Anyang' Nyong'o came up with a policy for the country called the Blueprint for Poverty Eradication and Wealth Creation, okay, with Kibaki. Wealth creation, what is it all about? We have invited Christian Murege, who is the head of asset management at Stanbic Bank Kenya, to teach us more about it. Christian, good morning.
Good morning, Latiff.
How you doing?
I'm keeping well. Yourself?
I'm keeping well as well.
Great.
But with more money, I'd be much better.
And that's why we're here today.
If I sat back and I knew that, for example, I'm worth 5 billion shillings, I can buy a couple of hotels here and there, I'd be happier. But karibu sana.
Thank you.
City will welcome you with the day's proverb. City, the proverbs this week are from?
Proverbs this week are from the Republic of Zambia. Okay? He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a cold, very cold ground.
He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a very cold, very cold ground.
Yes.
What's the interpretation of this one, Mr. Murege?
I think this is very linked to what we're going to speak here today. I think it means you should not live on borrowed resources. Try to create your own resources. That's the top of mind that comes to it.
Makes sense. Ndu? Does it resonate?
It does.
Build your own. Create your own. Grow your own. Okay. When you talk about investing for growth, again, people just like investing for growth. Yeah, anywhere else am I investing? Surely. Define those two terms, investing and growth, and why they come together.
Very well. So investing is basically putting into action your surplus. So ideally, we get an income, we spend it. If you spend more than you earn, you will be, in the proverb, borrowing from someone else. So we want to encourage people to be basically savers, to have the surplus. Once you have the surplus, you can deploy it into a saving, into an investment. Now, the function of whether it's going to be a growth investment or not is a function of time in the market, a function of how long you're persevering into that, and a function of discipline. So there are no shortcuts on that. Unfortunately, we want to have growth today on the first day of job without even putting time in. So I think that's what we're here to discuss and unpack today.
Are you saying that not all investments end up in growth?
Not all of them, okay? And I think it's good to find that investments sometimes do go down because economic cycles change, fundamentals change. We remember the Kodak moment, okay?
Yeah.
Many companies are going through that right now with the kind of disruptions we are seeing globally. So not all investments, as well planned as they were, do pan out. But that's why we say your planning journey, your investment journey should focus on diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's what we're going to discuss along this investment growth journey.
I'm sure we'll ask you about the baskets.
Exactly.
How many baskets are out there, and how do you identify the ones that are good?
And how do you know where to put eggs in?
So everybody...
Where do you get the eggs for everything? And where do you get the baskets? They're all these fundamental questions.
So first, once you've got
a basket and egg situation.
Yes.
Which one comes first, the basket or the eggs?
Yes, very good. So I think, or rather the hen, which one comes before? So I think first you get to get the eggs, which is your surplus. Okay, you have to have the financial discipline to live within your means. Okay. And that way, you're able to save something extra. That extra is what we call it the surplus. Now, how do you deploy it? And I'll be showing you how one of the easiest steps to start with is a money market fund. It's very basic. I can say it's the elementary level of investments, because you're hiring a professional fund manager to manage your money, however little it is. And we want to clarify here, there is no little amount of saving. So for our Stanbic money market fund, we start as low as 1,000 shillings. And for the fixed income fund, which is a US dollar fund, as low as $100. We are the lowest in the market, I believe. Okay? So for $100, you're exposed to dollar-denominated assets. We know the impact, the depreciation of the shilling had the last 2 years. It's still alive to us. We came very close until February this year, and we dodged that bullet. But does it mean we're out of the woods? Not necessarily, because we still don't have a budget for 2024, which was rescinded, and definitely there are more obligations to settle. That said and done, how do we diversify? So one way to diversify as an entry-level money market fund, you put your 1,000 shillings with us, you get a plethora of investments, from fixed deposits to call deposits to treasury bills, treasury bonds if you want. But ideally, we don't put treasury bonds in money market funds per se. Those would be in a fixed income fund. In the pure sense of a money market fund, it should be short term, below maybe 6 months at most, okay? So anything above 1 year in investments, that will be a fixed income fund. And we give you the whole package, the whole suite. So don't just put your money all in one bank. Bank can go down. So in a money market fund, you've got a bit of T-bills, you've got a bit of deposits with various banks, and that diversifies your portfolio. And that comes to the nuance I was saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
So you're saying the money market fund is like the elementary level of investing for growth. It's like the pink piggy bank, the one for kiddies. You just look at it and you just put the money here, and there's the basics you can understand. Put money and you can get the money out.
Absolutely.
Okay, but explain. How does a money market fund work?
So a money market fund is part of what we call a collective investment scheme. These are regulated products by the Capital Markets Authority, and I can confirm that our Stanbic unit trusts are regulated and licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, highly regulated. There are principles on how this should be managed, and we apply those principles. And internally, we have an investment philosophy where our underpinning theory should be we need to preserve capital, okay? Just to point out what you said earlier, some investments do go south, but ours, we are saying, come rain, come shine, we want to preserve capital. Then from there, we can tackle at least a decent return that's above inflation, and that way we protect wealth. Remember, inflation is the enemy, okay? In any situation. If you had money and just put it under the mattress, next year, that same bunch of money might not buy the same goods because of inflation. And that's just the way the capitalist system is wired, and maybe even the agrarian system, because goods do go up, okay? Seasons, cyclicalities do change production, and prices of commodities go up. So how do you defend yourself to be able, at a bare minimum, afford the same cluster of goods that you're affording this year without having to dig deeper into your savings? So investing is one sure way to beat inflation, and a money market fund for ideal and entry-level investors, also nuanced investors who want to get an income that they can live off, can also use this product. It's very versatile. That's what I can use. It's a linchpin to other investment areas like equities, or to offshore investments, or even to buying a home. You can actually start saving through a money market fund. So that should actually set the tone on that.
You talk about, I think one of the first things that you said was take what you have in terms of a surplus, no matter how much it is.
Okay.
So is that saying that you can only invest when you do have a surplus?
Absolutely.
You should only invest if you have a surplus?
Not really. We have situations where you can borrow. It's called leverage, okay? And this, we find it more in the area of equities, shares, commodities, where you have maybe a shilling and you borrow another 10 shillings. So you leverage your position, and that's speculation now, okay? Because the challenge and the benefit of leverage, it can amplify your profits, and on the flip side, it can double or even magnify your losses by the same amount you leverage. Because when you borrow, you must pay what? You must pay interest, and the principal. Okay, so ideally, it should be best you have something of your own. Okay, just like we say, when you take a mortgage, you should have at least your own 20% and borrow the 80%. If you borrow the whole 100% of what we're seeing banks giving 105, it's good enough when you're getting in, but it becomes a challenge when you have to start servicing it, because you're borrowing more than the value of your collateral. So ideally, have something of your own, then leverage the balance.
Let me ask this question. When you talk about saving, you talk about investment. As Stanbic, I am one of your clients, by the way, just so that you know.
Thank you, Charles.
Yes. What is the policy that you have on ensuring that this message gets to people when A, they haven't actually started earning, B, they haven't actually started getting responsibilities, so that they actually get into the habit of A, putting money aside, and so the issue of investment becomes a lot easier. Because once they get into a cycle where they now have a fixed way in which they go about managing their funds, it then becomes a little difficult to engage the reverse gear.
Absolutely. How we tackle this, Stanbic Bank is part of the Standard Bank Group. That's the biggest banking group in Africa. I don't know if you knew that, and we're part of it. One of our pillars is to drive sustainable growth, okay? And under that pillar, in Kenya and actually across Africa, we have a mechanism, a channel called Financial Fitness Academy. Now, that Financial Fitness Academy is a training platform we engage individuals, we engage SMEs, we engage groups, and train them on how fast to plan how their money is spent. Number 2, how to budget. There's a 50-30-20 rule. I'll speak about it a bit later. And definitely how to invest, how to start, how to manage your debt, how to get involved in creating wealth, the journey. And that academy is free. We don't charge for it. And so far in the year 2024, we've impacted over 5,500 learners or trained people who now we do believe are in a better position to manage their money. So to start with, we've been doing this with universities, okay, from year 1 to year 4 as a finish, so that by the time they get their first paycheck, they are very alive to how they will manage that money, okay? Not just the sherehe and what have you, but they know they now start planning for their retirement on the first day that they actually get employed. We're now cascading that to high schools and maybe even younger kids from 10. We have packages for various ages just to inculcate the discipline of saving. One of the challenges we have as a country, we have a very low gross savings rate to GDP. I think it's about 10.7, just under 11%. Globally, more developed countries are running almost close to 30, between 26 and 30%. That way, a country is able to invest in its own development without having to rely on borrowed capital. So I think we need to have that discussion, and I know the national government is very alive to that fact, to inculcate the financial literacy program. There's something I think being worked with Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development as our government front, and we want to partner with like-minded institutions to inculcate this culture all the way starting from our CBC learners now, so that by the time in 20 years they are earning their first income, they know exactly what to do on day one. Invest in a money market fund if you have no other idea of where to spend your money.
What does your money do when it gets into this fund?
So what happens when the money comes, as I said, a collective investment scheme, as the name suggests, is collective. You can think of it as a chama. So all of us who want a money market fund, which is the elementary basic entry level of investments, low risk, not no risk, low risk, because I did say all investments can go down, okay? Institutions go down. Haven't you seen that? So we say low risk because they ideally invest in shorter dated instruments. So we get 1,000 customers, 2,000 customers, everybody putting in money today, some taking out tomorrow, new people joining it. It's what we call an open-ended collective investment scheme. Once that is put into place, there's a document called an investment policy statement. It's a guiding principle. It's our North Star. So that document says where we can invest, up to what limit, and what kind of risk we can accept so for the best risk-adjusted return. So we do that, and the investors who have contributed from their 1,000 shillings, we'll have a customer bringing 5 million, another 10 million. All of you are called unit holders. For every shilling that you put into that pot, you get 1 unit of that money market fund, okay? And it's distributed that way. That money return is invested by a professional manager, and that's how we come in, myself and my team. We do go there, we've done research, we see which risk we can accept for the given level of return. And then every day, a return is generated and credited to our unit holders' accounts daily. Okay. So last night, if you had joined our money market fund, Latiff, and I hope I'll get your account today, by the time you get tomorrow, you'll have earned interest. How does that work now? At the end of the month, we credit Latiff's account, we credit Ndu's account with the income that has been earned. Now, here is the magic. If you do not take out your interest, that becomes the opening balance for the following month plus your original principal. Now you start earning interest on your interest and principal, and that's the power of compounding. So that's how we create wealth and how you grow your wealth. The power of compounding is a magic formula, and that's what we want to encourage people to understand it.
For example, how do you report your interests? So what do you say, like 13% per annum, 12% per annum? Is that what you say, or do you say interest per day?
So the interest is annualized,
right?
So you can compare apples for apples. So if someone is saying he'll give you 10% per annum, we have to give an equivalent return. So it's annualized. So there's a mathematical formula that gives you the equivalent of how it would have been per annum.
Give us an example of the current money market fund, for example, for Stanbic, and the interest per annum.
Very well. So currently, our interest rates for annualized rates are about 14.48%. We sit right around the middle of the pack. And as I said, we're a pure money market fund. No shenanigans. We have short-term instruments. Our average maturity period of our portfolio is slightly under 3 months. Okay, so if I said we want to close shop today, all my money should have come back without doing anything in 3 months. Okay, the weighted average maturity. Okay, the regulator allows us up to 18 months. But in essence, we've taken as a house, because we have a global reach, we have to apply group standards across all our markets. We do take about maximum 4 months, depending on the markets that they are allowed. Okay, so our competitors might be a bit higher than that. Therefore, they might have a higher, maybe kind of return at the top. But ideally, markets do change and they're fickle. And if you know the last 2 years, what has happened on interest rates, on treasury bonds and bills. So if you're invested in those instruments in a money market fund for the last 2 years, you've really gotten a beating. Okay, it's actually a beating, because there's something called interest rate risk. When a similar instrument that you bought 2 years ago earning 10%, and now the new one is earning 15%, which one would you prefer? For the same maturity, the one which is okay. So almost all portfolios, and that's across the board. If you look at even the banking results for last year, when they compare year on year, you'll see something called revaluation losses on those bond portfolios. So that also trickles down if you have pushed those kind of instruments in a money market fund, you can imagine. And the basic tenet of a money market fund, a shilling should be equal to a unit. We call it not breaking the back. So your shilling you brought should still come out at the very worst. Okay, and I do believe investors out there, as much as we chase return, I think you have seen many of them. You give someone to double your money and it gets lost. They don't care about the interest they forwent. What do they want?
The money back.
The amount back, even if it's 1 year.
I gave you 1,000 bob.
Exactly. So people are not really, when things go bad, I just want my principal. And that's our ethos. We want to protect the principal and give you a decent return above inflation.
So based on that, so the 14%, for example, the money market fund for Stanbic is at 14%.
14.48.
14.48.
Yes.
When you credit my account on a daily basis, how do you calculate that?
So that 14.48 will be divided by 365 days, and that portion is put into your account. So by the time we come at the end of the month, you'll have 14.48 divided by 12.
I see.
To get to 1 month.
Okay. So if I withdraw my money before the end of the year, I'll have earned the 14.4 divided by the number of months.
365 days by the number of days you've been in the game.
So the longer I stay, the better for me.
The more time you spend in the market, the better. And I did say it's a very versatile product. It could be you can open for your kid. You can open, if you're a retiree, you can use it even for retirement income. 14% is a decent income. So you have some 5 million somewhere, as opposed to keeping it maybe, for example, what we have seen, a very big trajectory towards government bonds and T-bills. Remember, those ones you have to sell. But for a money market fund, the moment you face a challenge and you need to liquidate your investment, within 48 hours, we have paid you. For a bond, you must look for a stockbroker out there to start telling you they'll get your buyer. It might take long, especially if you're what we call odd lots. Ideally, markets trade instruments of 100 million. That's the minimum ticket size to sell a bond. And you'll see a lot of activity will be between fund managers, banks and insurance. But a retail investor with a 50,000 shillings to put the same order, it might take 2 weeks. But why don't you get the same similar return in a money market fund and your cash in 2 days? It makes that sense. It's very liquid, very low risk, and low entry level.
Is there a minimum tenure within which you must hold the fund?
Absolutely none.
Okay.
So
then based on that, there's no penalty for cashing out?
There is no penalty for cashing out. And that's the allure of these instruments. 1,000 shillings I've gotten. Monday I have a challenge. I can request it. I'll have earned my 3 days interest. It won't be frame breaking, but it will be there, whatever it was.
At least 1,000 will be there.
It will be there. Plus and then at the end of the month, you will see your statement, and the interest for the number of days that you have held will be there. Okay.
Do you observe and see the number of people, for example, who have current accounts with Stanbic, and they're keeping money there? And of course, then they're thinking, the money is staying in the bank, it's safe, I'm not using it, I'm going to use it later. But they're putting it in that current account. Would you advise such a person to move it into a money market fund?
So money market fund is just one of the instruments that you've got to have, okay? You can have a savings as deposit, you can have a T-bill in CBK and the DAO system, and you can have a current account. The reason people have current accounts, and most importantly, will be to make their mainly their check obligations. I don't know if people still write checks, but those are the purposes for current accounts.
Yes, we do.
We still write.
Yes.
Thank you, Charles.
There was a story yesterday that actually the number of checks written has drastically dropped.
Yes, because of online banking, you can wire instantly, and there's special link and what have you. So current accounts have their purpose, okay? And I want to believe our customers are enlightened. They know about our products.
No. Christian.
Yes.
Somebody who, yes, they have all these obligations and they want to keep doing it, but they've kept this money in a current account for 60 days. Is that advisable?
Is it advisable?
Yes.
That is not a very wise financial decision because it could be earning something.
You could be putting it somewhere else.
Correct.
It could be earning something better because a savings account also earns you money.
But a current earns you none.
Or they are interest earning current accounts.
Yes, some. That's not the practice. They're meant to be 0%. It's free money usually.
It's usually just cash there.
Just cash which the bank can play with it overnight lending.
28 minutes to 9. Let's take a break. We're speaking with Christian Wairimu. He's the head of asset management at Stanbic Bank Kenya. Stanbic Bank is part of the Standard Bank Group, which is the largest in Africa. They have money and they can help us grow our money. Investing for growth, that's what we are talking about. The key considerations when we come back from this break. Christian, you'll tell us about that 50-30-20 rule and why it's important. Okay? Keep it here for that. All-in-one by Safaricom. It's something that Safaricom has actually done for a number of months now, and they've seen it's benefiting people. Peace of mind. You go and subscribe to one all-in-one package. You get call, you get SMS, you get data, you get free WhatsApp.
Indeed you do.
How do you subscribe?
*544# and then you pick the Go Monthly tab. Under that you'll find all-in-one, and then you can pick from which bouquet you want to go with, right? 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, depending on what your needs are. What you do is that you're buying freedom, and you never get into a spot where you need to pick up the phone and call and you'll be cut off, or you send a message and it will not go, or you need to find out, who's streaming what movie and you will not be able to watch it. So it buys you freedom. Get through the month in your communication with the all-in-one package from Safaricom.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Save money on your rising electricity bill with StarTime Solar Home Solution. We offer a complete home and commercial energy saving system that includes solar panels with 15-year warranty, lithium battery with 10 years warranty, and an inverter with 5 years warranty. StarTime Solar Home Solution is efficient, reliable, and safe to power essential appliances, complete home lighting, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, microwaves, iron box, instant shower, and entertainment devices, television, computers, Wi-Fi, and so much more. Say yes to reduced electricity bills and call us today on 0719 077 777 and get started on your green energy journey today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
Seal the deal every day with the all-in-one plan from Safaricom. Get data, minutes, and SMS all-in-one on-the-go monthly bundle plan from Safaricom. Tune into the Situation Room every Monday to Friday as we unpack the all-in-one monthly plan from Safaricom. Safaricom is for you. Unbeatable deals at Peppino's Pizza, Kimathi Street. Get this. 2 large pizzas plus a 1.25-liter soda for just 1,500 Kenya shillings, or 2 medium pizzas and a 1.25-liter soda for just 1,200 Kenya shillings. Available every Tuesday and Thursday. Chicken lovers, we got you covered too. Enjoy 2 crispy chicken pieces, chips, and a 350 ml soda for just 500 shillings. Call 0728-261-875 or order online at pepinospizza.co.ke. Join us for mouth-watering treats all month long. Hashtag Peppino's Pizza at 8.
The weather with SpiceFM.
We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 14. We'll see highs of 25 and lows of 13 in a sunny Nakuru. It's 16 and sunny in Nyeri, highs of 23, and Eldoret at 18 is sunny. going to highs of 24 and lows of 13. It's a sunny morning in Mombasa at 27 with highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 31 and lows of 24 in Malindi. It's sunny at 21 in Kisumu with highs of 30 and lows of 19, while at 19 Kakamega is sunny and we'll go to highs of 29 and lows of 14. Kampala is sunny at 20, highs of 30 and lows of 18, while Dar es Salaam at 25 is sunny, we'll see highs of 31. We're looking into a sunny Johannesburg now at 8 degrees, highs of 21 and lows of 6, while Mogadishu at 28 will go to highs of 31 and lows of 25. Mostly cloudy at 16 in Addis Ababa with highs of 21 and lows of 12, while Lagos sunny at 26 now with highs of 31. We'll see highs of 32 in a mostly sunny Kinshasa at 24. Very, very busy on the Thika Superhighway this morning. It's coming in from Garden City and it slows down a little bit as you get to Survey, but then we have bumper-to-bumper action all the way through towards the Pangani Tunnel. On Kiambu Road, very busy. Limuru Road, busier still as you come in from Muthaiga. Coming in from Red Hill Link Road, where there's traffic coming all the way from Red Hill. Very busy. Gashie inside to the city, extremely busy. James Gishuru also busy crossing over to the Red Hill Link Road. So this loop that comes from James Gishuru goes towards Kuna, out towards Lower Kabete Spring Valley, even further ahead through towards Kitisuru, is finding its way round Limuru Road. Very, very busy traffic this morning, even plus the northern bypass. So there's a pain point. Watch out for that. Gong Road busy, Langata Road as well. Still in traffic hour. Let's see what happens as we come out of it soon. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
For growth, the key considerations to have. Christian Murege, head of asset management at Standard Bank Kenya, is our guest. 50-30-20 rule. What's that?
Thanks, Eric. So that's the guiding principle. You don't have to apply it absolutely, but it's just a guiding principle. And it starts from the aspect where you have to look at yourself individually and look at what are your sources of revenue. What are your sources of income? Is it employment? Is it tenants paying you money? Is it a side hustle? What have you? Whatever business. So that we call the inflow. Okay. Now, at any one time, you want to make sure the outflow, the tap is smaller, like just in your normal tank at home. The feeder pipe is big, but the tap is smaller. That way, the tank is always almost full. Okay, and that's what we talk about the surplus. So today, I think we can focus on how to manage the outflow. Where we spend our money, and that is called budgeting. And I did say our Financial Fitness Academy, which is run by my colleague called King Ori Gadinji, it is actually a very instrumental educational platform on literacy where we can actually teach the attendants how to manage their money. One of the things we do about budgeting is first we have to ask you, where are you spending your money? Do you keep receipts of where you spend your money? So as a starter, I think Latiff start now. Okay, whatever you spend on Friday, keep that receipt.
You only headache.
Receipt. Yeah, keep whatever expenses. Nowadays, the good thing we have M-Pesa to show you where you have spent your money.
I don't want to look at those statements, my friend.
But it is a discussion you'll have to face.
Why? Why is it important?
It is important because Latiff, our expenses are categorized in 2 or 3 broad areas. The first, we pay for our needs. Okay. You can't do without it. You got to put food on the table. You got to take your kids to school, isn't it? You got to buy medicine, get healthcare if you don't have. Okay? Put a roof over your head. Then we have a second category called wants. Wants are things that we do for lifestyle. Okay? So if you take I won't mention brands, but if you like a favorite coffee before you come to the office in the morning from a particular outlet, as opposed to making it from your house, that's a want, isn't it? You could have done it at home. You can get your coffee grind and what have you, make your own coffee, or rather even buying lunch, that's a want. You can pack lunch from home, just giving examples. And then finally, there's the issue of saving. Okay, so the 50% means from my net earnings after taxes, I should not spend more than 50% of my net earnings on needs. That should cover everything, school fees, what have you. Okay? Then the next 30%, and this is where we say there's a green area, depending on your personality, those are the needs. Okay, I mean, those are the wants. So the 50% are the needs, 30% are the wants, and then strive at any one time. However little it is, put 20% aside, okay, of whatever you put. Yeah, and I'll come to that. So depending on where you are on your lifetime earning cycle, you could reduce your wants and increase on how much you're allocating on your savings and investment. Okay, I can see Muga looking at me. I just want to show him that in the Asian markets, they save as much as 60% of their after-tax income. 60%. And I'm just talking about 20%.
Sherehe is a need.
But also,
so that's the guiding principle, Latiff.
Now, the needs are impacted by very many things. All right, so you need to pay school fees. For many people, because of the school that you want your children to go to, then it also impacts where you want to live. Okay, you live there because you want to be closer to this particular school that you prefer for your children. Okay, so it's all those things are adding up. You'll end up finding that if you want your children to be here, and you're paying this amount of school fees, and this is the kind of rent that then you must pay. And then this is the kind of bills that then you'll end up having. This is where you work, and so you need a vehicle. You need to fuel your vehicle. And this 50% will not cut it.
Thank you.
So you find that many people are doing 80% on need, 20% on sherehe, saving. Mungu has to save.
So I think one item you've actually pointed there, education is important.
Yeah,
we are, especially our middle class in urban areas, we're held captive by the so-called bougie schools.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So because of that, also it takes you to a bougie area to be closer to the school, and you find out easily that 50% is going away. But let me throw it back to you. What happens to the kids who come from far-flung areas? I think we have kids from Marsabit, Turkana, Lodwar in the University of Nairobi. They still made it there. So I think my guiding principle, let's not be held hostage by the concept that the higher, the more pricier the private school is a direct correlation to success in life. In most instances, it's not. Character, metal is developed from hardship actually. And you'll see, look at your crop of politicians. Half of them, I think, are from hardship areas. Very few are from bougie. I just mentioned just top of mind, even corporate leaders in business. So there's no direct correlation. It is good, and I think from where I stand, it's a bit of what we call having what the Joneses have. Okay, peering over to the neighbor because he's going to XYZ school. I must measure up, and that's, I think, one of the fallacies.
So that stops being a need and becomes a want. So it's a very grey line there between.
But is it
it's a lifestyle issue? I think.
Is it really a lifestyle issue? Because how then do you decide that when a parent wants the best for their child is a lifestyle issue?
Because it could be coming from that hardship that you speak of, and you say, well, what the parent went through, they don't want their child to go through, and so they will make sure that they have the best.
The point is this: if your income does not allow you to go to that private school and you're borrowing to even stick to that school, what happens the moment you lose your job, you lose the source of income, you get unwell? We saw that in COVID. And I think we should not lose sight of that. A lot of parents did realize that they cannot sustain that false promise, and they did take their kids to lower schools. Many government schools actually ended up getting kids from private schools. I sit on a board of a public school, one of the biggest public school primary schools, and our entry level has been abnormally high. Till today, people are still bringing kids from private schools into the academy every day. I sit on the board of a school called Ololwa Primary School in Kajiado, and definitely we see those numbers every day.
You see, what you're saying is true, but what we're dealing with here is the aspirations that parents have.
Yes.
And to meet those aspirations, many parents go beyond their means to achieve those.
Absolutely.
It's a simple reality.
It's absolutely.
And when you say borrowing, many parents plan, save in a circle, planning. They borrow once a year, they pay. Then they spend a good portion of that year repaying back. So yes, COVID was a calamity, it is not the norm. It's something that happens once in a while, but the effects are still with us. I'm simply saying that everything you say is absolutely true, and it's something that one must aspire to. But the moment you touch on education, or then the moment you start touching on healthcare, it'll break that budget. In this country,
it's the reality of the economy and the country that you're living in.
Yes.
In some of those Asian countries that you're talking about, some of these things have been taken care of, right? They are state funded. There's a proper social protection program that runs. School, just let your kid get out, go to that school. That school is as good as the school in the next neighborhood, right? Healthcare, you're sorted. Because your tax, and you're talking about net, Kia coming to 50, 30, 20, it's net. What was taken by tax has sorted out your healthcare, has sorted out your school, has sorted out very many things, even the neighborhood that you live in, and the kind of atmosphere that you have. Then now you're left to deal with the needs. What are the other needs that you have? Oh, rent, this and the other. It reduces the needs, but here, our needs, even garbage falls in this category of need. Watchman, need.
You know something?
Water need.
Something as
50%.
Something as simple and as straightforward as just even food, for instance. If you look at countries like Malaysia and what have you, and look at the policies the government has and how they go about producing their food, it is extremely inexpensive to eat in those countries. It is not expensive at all. In fact, you get shocked at what food costs.
Absolutely.
See? So again, it is possible. What you're saying is something that ordinarily would be ideal, but what rocks this particular boat is, to begin with, how the government manages the money that they already collect from us in taxes. Because that is what is supposed to have given us the foundation on which what you're saying then becomes very simple and very easy.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Muga. I will not purport to speak on behalf of government and how they use their taxes.
We're going to leave that one to us.
You do a very good job on that. Yes. But I think the safety nets, the social systems like education and health do actually come from that angle where the taxes we pay are pulled together and the governments of the day can invest in education, which is affordable. I went to a public school in my days and it turned out well. I think so. Okay. And most of you actually, I believe so.
We did go to public school.
Exactly. Exactly. So what has happened, I think we've had a population explosion of late, but our investment in infrastructure, our investment in education, our investment in healthcare has not been at the same pace. I think in the 80s, we had a population of something to the tune of about 25 million or so, maybe 30. Yes. We're now almost touching 60. I think when you do the next census, we'll be above 55, going to 60.
Yes.
But has the infrastructure changed? You can see the kilometers of roads are still the same, though the cars have increased. So even to the primary schools, and especially on account of the FPE, when the FPE came through, we saw the public schools inundated, and truth be told, quality went down.
Yep.
Teacher to student ratios went up, and that's why we saw a mushrooming of private schools, okay, from that time, especially secondary schools and our primary schools. So there is that actually need, because you want the best for your kid. You don't want a teacher-student ratio of 1 to 100, 1 to 20.
Yeah.
You want something like 1 to 40. Those are called the ideals. And for that, you got to pay up. That I agree, okay? So you can take the circle loans, and actually most of the circle loans end up paying school fees because private tuition is not cheap. But even with private tuition, you can get your price point, okay? And you can live around the price point. Till today, I think that people who come all the way as far away as from Machakos, because maybe their family lives there. There are good schools in Machakos, and he commutes to Nairobi and back to Machakos at the end of the evening, a distance of about 60 kilometers. I know people who come from Naivasha come to Nairobi work and go back to Naivasha the same day because it's cheaper there. Their family is there. Maybe they have another business there, and he's the only one coming and going back, even by public means. Yeah. So it's a way how you look at your situation. Stop looking through the fence about the Joneses.
Deal with your own reality.
Everybody, Latiff is the reality. You're running your own race.
Yes.
You're not running Du's race. You're not running Muga's race. Okay? So look at yourself, introspect yourself, and say, what is a need here? What is a want? And how much can I put aside? A key issue, even as we do about planning, this is only one angle. Retirement is a real issue here in the country. I think the income replacement ratio, one of the measures we use to see how well people will retire, we have one of the lowest. Internationally, best prescribed, and I know Charles might have a comment on this. They say you should have actually you should have 70% of your last income level. Okay, so if you're on 100k, try to retire, and your nest egg should be giving at least 70k to continue the lives. If you're on 100k, if your last salary was 100k at the time you're hitting 60 or whatever retirement age, you should have accumulated 70% of that in an annual basis, okay? So that you can continue the lifestyle that you are enjoying. Short of that, you become a dependent. And some of us do not have dependents. Some of us even, the dependents are still depending on you. And it continues a vicious cycle. So you find very many people who are, whilst in employment, they're okay, living a good standard of living, but after retirement, you see it dwindling down. Affording a Panadol becomes an issue. Healthcare, as we have said, is not keeping pace with the growth in population. So your Panadol, which you are getting free from your dispensary,
it's now costing.
Today it's costing you. It's out of pocket. Okay, and that's reality. You go for an operation, it's be much more expensive next year or 10 years from now than it is today. Until now we sort this issue of the healthcare, and you can see what's happening with this new proposal that came into effect first. I don't know, and I don't hold forth on that. But so ideally, costs will continue going up.
At Stanbic, like you're saying, you have this academy, and you said
Financial Fitness Academy.
Mr. Kingori is there to teach people, to get people to have this 20%, so then the 20% people can come to you.
Correct.
And you show them how do we now use this savings of yours into investment, into growth.
Correct.
Okay. What are the challenges that you two face when you're dealing with customers? Is it so easy to convert people into actually going into the 20%, into getting the 20% and the discipline of it? What are the hindrances to this? What are the barriers?
I think some of the barriers have actually just come out now. People say the cost of living is too high, I can't manage this, I can't manage that. But I did say the first point is to look introspectively and see how much you're spending per month. Nobody likes to look at that message, okay? But once you realize there's some things you spend on the sherehe, can I reduce it now to once a week instead of daily? Kenyans are daily sherehe people, okay? Just go to the outlets. Maybe change it to Friday once or something. That's how you can save that 2K or whatever it is. Put it aside. And you'll notice it starts snowballing. It starts building up. And the good thing about putting something aside is that however small it is, it could be 500, 1,000 shillings. The moment you see it building up, it motivates you to put more. Just like when you're paying debt, one of our lessons on how to reduce debt is a method called snowballing. People have borrowed full lizard here, they have done things, they've taken a Shylock, they have circled everything. We tell them, our running call as asset management is financial freedom is possible, but you cannot be financially free if you have the yoke of debt choking you every day. So how do you get rid of this yoke? One of the ways we say is snowballing debt payment. So tackle the smallest debt that you have, okay? Once you have tackled that one, the one for your Kashilok or Mama kiosk, you have motivation to pay the next one. Okay, you knock that one out. Then you go to the bigger one. And slowly, whatever you have saved from those ones by reducing that cash flow, you can actually start now paying down your bigger ones. For example, your mortgage, okay? There's a standard that comes out of your month. But did you know that you can look at your contract of your mortgage when it's debited? On that material day, if you add money to the principal account, it reduces your principal and automatically resets the calculation of the remaining interest to retirement. Okay? That's one way. So you can put this money in your money market fund. Your bank debits your principal account on the 30th. So pull your money out on the 29th. I give you back. And on the 30th, you pay down your principal amount. Now, principal amount is okay to pay. But if you look at a typical mortgage, and I wonder how people survive with mortgages of 20% currently in the current scenario. A loan of 10 million, you'll easily end up paying 50 million over a period of 20, 30 years. 50 million. 40 of that is interest, isn't it? Because your principal is in the 10. So the idea is to pay down your principal so that you pay less of the 40.
You reduce the interest.
You get a windfall, your hustle, reduce the principal on that particular day because for the month it's already calculated. So those are the kind of tips we give. And I can see Ndu is taking notes.
Of course.
I think you'll send me a check for that.
Don't even worry. So then how do you say you're getting to the point, Christian, when you're creating wealth?
So wealth starts from savings. We've budgeted, isn't it? We've got the surplus. You save. So now you invest. After saving, you invest. Okay? So what is your goal for investment? Okay? You want to generate things we call passive income, depending on your stage of life, or growth income. Okay, so when you have a money market fund, depending, like let's say you're 25 years old, straight from university, you have no business building apartments. You should be growing your money for retirement, more aggressive investments. Okay, you can see what has changed the last 10 years. For example, if you're in those stocks like Nvidia in the US, those stocks that have disrupted the markets, you invest in the themes that are emerging. Right now, artificial intelligence is a theme. It will stay there for intermediate time. Some companies will be disrupted totally. Okay, equity funds are very nice for a person who's younger. Okay, so I'd advise, if you're a young person, 25 in university right now, start investing in a money market fund and then take advantage of equity funds. Okay, locally and abroad. Okay, that way you get your money increasing at a faster pace. Okay, a case in point, Nvidia just this year I think has done over 200%. Over the last 3 years, I think has done 10 times. You've 10 times your money. So the power of stock markets is that. Okay, I know some of our youth prefer the cryptos, but cryptos, I think, in as much as they've had good times, sometimes those are speculative because
and
the substance underpinning it, and forex trading, the substance underpinning it is not really here nor there. An ideal investment should have a cash flow, and you'll tell me maybe gold does not have a cash flow, but gold is perceived as a safe store of wealth. Okay, but ideally your best investment should give you a regular cash flow, and that's how we evaluate that investment and see the price. So you look at the cash flows, we do something called discounting and get the present value and see what will this stock be in 5 years time, 10 years time. How do they fare in the market? Are they market leaders? Do they have a moat around their business? Is it easy to enter? Those kind of dynamics. So
in Kenya, when people think investment,
Shaba.
Precisely. So that is a direct challenge to everything that you're saying.
Very good.
How do you get people to understand
soil is wealth, bwana?
Kabisa.
Soil is wealth.
You're speaking to the converted. Okay.
Kamugoda.
Yes. How do you get people to understand this? Yes, it is, but what you're offering is just as real
as the shambas.
Yes, and your money is more accessible with what you're suggesting than with that piece of earth that you've acquired.
Very good.
Yes.
So there's no issue about property. Property is actually a very good store of wealth as well, especially if it's in the right area. Okay, we did see a flurry of plots being sold, I think from the 2015s all over in the peripheries, where nothing really much will happen. And people have actually bought those 1/8 somewhere as far as Busia, somewhere near the border, not near the road, but internally. And you wonder what will happen to those ones. Why won't you instead invest in what we call real estate investment trusts? Okay, they invest in an underlying basket of properties, and they're tradable and easily convertible to cash. Remember, your investment should not be a dead asset. When you need it back, it should come back to you. So it's very hard to sell some of those plots. I can see some of them have been in the market for years, especially if they're small and they're not strategically placed. But a real estate investment trust, and there are 2 or 3 in the market listed, you actually get an underlying asset that is investing in properties, and you get a cash flow, and you can actually sell it and get a price discovery because you can get a buyer, very liquid. So on that point, I do agree, Muga. Property has been one of the key pillars people have put for investing. Okay. But I think I'll challenge you also. Look at the papers on is it Mondays, on the back pages. They are very very hard to liquidate.
Someone is asking, how do they come and talk to you?
Thank you very much, Latiff. So that's what's bringing this towards at least the end. If you're a Stanbic customer, it's as easy as dialing *208#. I repeat, *208#. You go to option number 9. It will say Stanbic Unit Trusts. Select number 9. It will then tell you to accept our terms and conditions. You say yes, and then it will ask you about data privacy. If you're a customer, we already have your data. We won't be asking anything else from you. Your ID, your KRP, we already have that. So it automatically picks from our core system. Then from there, it guides you to choose a fund. Do you want a money market fund? Do you want a fixed income dollar fund? Okay. So if you want the dollar fund, you must have at least $1 savings with the Stanbic Bank. And if you're not a customer of the bank, we encourage you to visit your nearest branch. You can actually open an account online, but have the documents that they require, and your account will be opened, and within a few hours it will be active, and you can now start dialing on *208#. It's as simple as that. We have made it very affordable. 1,000 shillings for the Stanbic Money Market Fund, $100 only to join the Stanbic Fixed Income Fund. And from there, you started your investment journey. It's a linchpin. You can now explore the other options that we're going to bring on board. We have a pipeline of very good investment solutions, our capability. We have offshore solutions, we have private wealth solutions, and we are happy to get as much as possible through your partnership with SpiceFM and our listeners today. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you, Christian. Christian Murege is the head of asset management at Stanbic Bank Kenya. He's been our guest. Keep it here. News time, 9 a.m.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm La Ubaga, and the National Assembly has announced areas where Kenyans can give their views on the motion of impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from Friday. In a Gazette notice, residents of Changamwe, Jomvu, Kisauni, Nyali, Likoni and Mvita will give their views at Tononoko Social Hall. Kwale residents will give theirs at Kwake Cultural Center, while those from Kibwezi will be at Water Green Park Gardens. In other areas where Kenyans will be going to give their views is Murang'a University of Technology Hall, where residents from Kangema, Mathoia, Kiharu, Kigomo, Maragwa, Kandara, Gataga will be able to give their views, among other regions. This event comes as the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has further said that for those who'd like to email their details on the matter, they'll go to the impeachment at parliament.go.ke.
It is clear whichever direction that motion will go.
And lawmakers from Mount Kenya region are calling upon President William Ruto to intervene on the ongoing impeachment against his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, claiming the issue cannot be dispensed without his blessings. The leaders who vowed to reject the impeachment motion pushed for internal dispute resolution on the matter.
It is clear whichever direction that motion will go, it will have serious social, political, and economic ramifications in the entire mountain region.
The Speaker can guide that we go to our people so that we get their nod, since the Deputy President has been elected by the people of this republic. And going against their wish shows some selfish interest.
And so we need to stop politics or attacking one another left and right. That will not save this nation. So the time we have now is development, address peace.
Peace from number one, peace to the end, A to Z in this nation of ours.
And moving on is that Trans Nzoia residents might suffer when going to get services from hospitals, that is public hospitals, as the Kenya National Union of Nurses has announced a strike notice in the next 7 days. According to non-chairperson of the county, that is Edward Cheriot, they've said that the strike will give the employer time to rethink his or her decision on whether to implement some of the agreements in their CBA, which include promotions, issuance of permanent contracts to health workers.
This must go to the public. Wauguzi hawapendi kwenda mgomo. Tumelazimishwa na serikali kwenda mgomo. Tutarudi wakati wameandika watu as per the advert yenye iko kwa County Public Service Board. Tutarudi wakati kila nurse kwa hii county ako na barua ya promotion. Tutarudi wakati tuko na medical cover ambayo itatusaidia. Tutarudi wakati madawa ya kutosha iko kwa mahospitali zote. Tutarudi wakati environment ya kufanya kazi imekuwa improved. Na kama hii haikuwa addressed, tunasema sisi tarehe 8 tunaenda mgomo na turudi mpaka hiyo vitu yote 9 ifanywe.
The National Transport and Safety Authority has made the decision to suspend the operation of 121 Matatu SACCOs from operation due to failure to observe road regulations. NTSA has cited a variety of reasons for the ban, including frequent accidents, non-compliance with safety regulations, and a general lack of accountability among the operators. That's the Newswire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It has been a crazy busy Wednesday morning. Let's have a look at what's going on right now. The list of traffic that's coming off Langata Road is quite heavy on Aerodrome. And as you get towards the Huru Highway, then from that Lusaka Road, Langata Road junction, heading out towards the Haile Selassie junction is very busy right around now, as is the little parts of Rilo Dingo Way heading towards Ngong Road. Okay, there's also still traffic on the Thika Superhighway coming in from Survey. Juja Road is just a little bit busy. And this whole thing that was going on between Limuru Road and Red Hill and all that is starting to reduce, so maybe not so bad for the coming minutes. It's also looking much better coming off the... Nope, that's not true. The Eastern Bypass is absolutely crazy in towards North Airport Road, coming off Outer Ring as well. That still continues to be a thing. Let's keep an eye on all of this and see what happens as we come towards the end of traffic hour. And how about we talk on SpiceFM? KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yes. It's 7 minutes after 9. Good morning, and thank you very much for doing this. Which is staying locked on SpiceFM, on KTN, on YouTube, and Facebook. This is a Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. The all-in-one package by Safaricom. What is it all about?
So, there are many things that you can do. You can talk, you can send messages, you can log onto the internet, and you can get on WhatsApp for free. Imagine all those things that you can do, because you're going to go to *544#, right? You will find the Go Monthly plan. Go Monthly will take you now to the different all-in-one bouquets that are available. And what that means is essentially you don't have to stop just because, you don't have money at that time to buy. Okay, so you buy at the beginning of the month, one flat fee, and you get access to all these great things. For example, 1,000 minutes of talk time, 2,000 SMSs, 17 GB of data, as well as free WhatsApp. And then it never gets finished during the month. And as you get to the end of the month, you still have a lot of this data, SMSs, blah, blah, that you can use. So it buys you freedom, and it also buys you convenience. So you don't have to stop and buy and through and through, one time, one payment, stay connected, boom.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Very, very so.
Simple. Siti, loop. We said when you get in the loop, that's what is making your life easier, right?
Well, it actually does. You know, the thing about technology and the story about how technology makes your life is actually true. Because Loop does precisely that. You have needs, you have wants, you have expenses. And how do you ensure that they are all under one house? All under one roof, so that when you need to do something, when you need to expend some money, it becomes possible simply at the touch of this and that, but nothing too complicated. Loop makes your life simpler. So when you're talking about a lifestyle, if it's complicated, then it's a complicated lifestyle, not very useful to you. When it's simpler, it is more useful, and it gets you what you want, and it gets you where you want to go.
That makes life much easier for you.
Infinitely easier.
For example, your county mate in Kisumu, Victor has just found out that it's easier sending money via Loop. So what Victor has done this morning, Victor went and downloaded Loop. I don't know whether it's from the App Store or Play Store. It doesn't matter. Downloaded Loop. Went ahead and registered. Went ahead and verified the account. So he's now running an account. And Victor has sent some money from Loop to M-Pesa. Right? Easy like that. And he's like, my God. Oh my God.
It is that simple.
It is that simple. Victor Adundo. Therefore, because of doing this, we give him how much?
we give him 2,500 shillings inside your loop account.
Into the loop account.
Then you can do things from there.
Yes. Simple, easy, like that. Because he's found out that it's very easy. So we want to give him some money so that he can even make it easier for him. Find out
how much easier it can
How much easier it can be. So he's downloaded that loop app and he's registered and he has been able to transact and continue like that. All right. So if you do that today and you can send us tomorrow, we'll give someone else 2,500.
Like that.
Like that, like that, like that, like that. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Shortly, we'll tell you who gets 3,000 airtime, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber. But in the meantime, the headlines today in the papers is just all about Rigathi Gachagua.
It is.
But also, there's an advert that's been taken, 2-page adverts have been taken by the National Assembly. This one. Yes?
What's wrong?
This one. It's 2 pages. What the National Assembly is saying is that this impeachment motion must go through public participation. In the matter of Article 118, 1B, 145, 1, 151B and 2 of the Constitution, and in the matter of consideration of the special motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, notifications of public hearings and invitations to submit views. So what the National Assembly is saying, in compliance with the Constitution, the Clerk of the National Assembly invites the public to make oral and or written submissions and representations on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, in public hearings to be held on Friday, the 4th of October, 2024, across the country, coordinated from the 47 counties between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
You mean this thing is serious like this?
It's big, Bwana. Public, but the public voted for Rigathi Gachagua. The public is going now to engage on this particular matter.
Because the public has representatives and the public need to tell the representatives what they think.
How to vote.
Yes.
Okay?
They are our representatives, not their own representatives.
They are looking at all the 290 constituencies in the Republic, starting from Changamwe going all the way to Mathare in Nairobi. Okay? And they say, for example, this in Mombasa sub-county, in Mombasa County, Changamwe, Jomvu, Kisauni, Nyeri, Likoni, Mvita, all of you, if you go to Tononoka Social Hall on Friday, you can say, Wataka Gachagua atoke nyumbani angatuliwe ama akae ofisini. If you're in Kwale, Msambweni, Lungalunga, Matuga, Kinango, meet at the Kwale Cultural Center. If you are in Kilifi, Ganze, Kaloleni, Kilifi North, Kilifi South, Malindi, Rabai, Magarini, go to the Coast Development Authority Hall in Kilifi, and so on and so forth. If you're in Nairobi we have Westlands, Dagoretti North, Dagoretti South, Langata, Kibra, Roysambu, Kasarani, Ruaraka, Embakasi South, Embakasi North, Embakasi Central, Embakasi East, Embakasi West, Kamukunji, Makadara, Starehe, Mathare. You go to KICC.
So let me ask you something.
Ask.
So on Fridays when all this thing will be done, eh?
Yes.
So 47 counties from
290 constituencies, let's put it that way.
290 constituencies between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Friday only. Because as far as from what I can see here, it's just on Friday.
It's just one day.
So between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., all 290 constituencies will have representation at different places in the 47 counties to come and say whether they feel or do not feel certain things. Now, after that, a compilation will take place because essentially what we know...
That's what's expected.
That is what is expected, not that we know it will take place. It is expected that the compilation of all these views, whether written or orally submitted, will take place. Then in order for, over the weekend, blah, blah, collect, this side, because on Tuesday in the National Assembly, then the voting will happen.
And the voting
is going to be based
on the people's
participation.
Yes.
Okay. So we are assuming once again that everybody will come who should come and their views will be compiled. Okay.
Ideally, I think it means basically that in all these 47 centers across the country, you'll have the MPs from those areas in these halls, right? So for example, in CDF Hall, Kirinyaga Central, the MP for Mwea, for Geshogo, for Ndia, for Kirinyaga Central will all be at CDF Hall in Kirinyaga Central on Friday, the whole day, to listen to their people and to explain the motion as the staff from the clerk's office come to explain. This is the motion. This is what it means. Count number 1. Count number, because there are several. How many counts are they?
That's
11.
11. Can I tell you what they are, right?
Yes, please.
All right. The first one, gross violation of articles. Walala, these are many articles that have been violated.
Blah, 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 blah. Constitution.
Where? So let's just say gross violation of articles because there are many.
And what's the allegation
you want me
in
to
blood?
tell you what they are. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has significantly undermined national unity and the peaceful coexistence of Kenya's diverse communities by persistently making inflammatory, what's inflammatory in Kiswahili, and insightful utterances threatening to discriminate, exclude, and unlawfully deny sections of the people of Kenya and regions of the Republic of Kenya equal opportunities for public service appointments and allocation of public resources. That's just one count.
Count number 2.
Thank you very much. Gross violations of articles, blah, blah, to blah, blah. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has made unilateral public statements inconsistent with policy positions collectively adopted by the government and contradicted the President on critical matters of governance and the exercise of the President's function as a symbol of national unity.
So he expressed his own freedom of expression.
He used his brain. And they said that's a violation.
And the brain was against was not what the President had said. All right.
So that's a violation.
Number 3.
Number 3, another gross violation. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, interfered with the running of Nairobi City County government by inciting citizens against lawful directives of the county government on the planning and relocation of markets and publicly disparaging the leadership of the county government and its decisions. In other words, aliambia
watu wa
Arthur Sakaja, where my younger brother atutaki. Number 4, I can continue.
Continue, please.
Gross violation again. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has undermined the institutional and decisional independence of a judge through public attacks on a judge of the High Court of Kenya and falsely threatening to file a petition for the removal of the said judge in a matter in which he was a party.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Uh-huh.
Another one. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, breached his oath of office and allegiance on the account of utterances and actions attributed to the Deputy President under grounds 1, 2, and 3 of the special motion. So you see now those 1, 2, 3 that we had read in the beginning.
Above.
This one now has added
that was a breach
ones.
of the oath of office.
Yar.
Okay.
Number 6.
Which breach
of the
breach
of the and that is what has constituted
oath.
Yes, oath of office
and allegiance.
The one he uttered.
The one he mixed up in Kasarani.
Yeah. Okay.
You get it? No, but okay. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has persistently made inflammatory, reckless, and insightful public utterances over the last 2 years in contravention of the law. Yani in the last 2 years, he's just been
spewing.
And they said, nah, cannot be. There's still more, but we're almost
7.
there. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has committed gross economic crimes, namely conflict. Yes, this one is gross. Conflict of interest, abuse of office, and conspiracy to commit crimes by inexplicably amassing property estimated at 5.2 billion shillings that is incompatible with his known legitimate income and by trading with the office of the Deputy President through proxies. Where?
Now this becomes an issue.
Yar.
When we're swearing in certain... Anyway, carry on.
The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has publicly attacked and undermined the work of the National Security Intelligence Service and its officers. Gross misconduct by openly or publicly insubordinating the President, who is the head of state and government. This one is in red. It doesn't even have black again.
It doesn't need explanation.
No.
If you don't get it, just get out. Yes.
Oh, there's another one. The special motion alleges that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has over the past 2 years persistently bullied state and public officers.
So now you are expected to appear in all these 47 centers across your counties to tell your MP whether you agree with this or you disagree with the counts, okay?
Or if you even understand what the counts are.
And you even guide your MP on how to speak. So, for example, Masai Technical Institute Hall, if you are from Kajiado North, Central, East, West, South, please go to Masai Technical Institute Hall on Friday. And you expect that all those MPs will be there on that day. Higher. William Kabogo is the former governor of Kiambu County. He's a party leader. First. He was the very first governor of Kiambu County.
Yes.
What's your party called again?
Tujibebe wa Kenya.
Tujibebe wa Kenya.
Jibebe.
I told you.
Jipange.
Jibebe. Tujibebe wa Kenya Party. Yes. Party leader. He's our guest now. Good morning, William.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
I was around. And I thank you for inviting me, although abruptly.
Yeah.
We thank you for accepting it.
Ulikuwa within.
Nilikuwa within. Unajua sasa ni wakati wa kuzungumza. Those of us who've been quiet for a while, we need to start talking.
Very good.
The current affairs are worrying. More so because it's a national conversation. Before ilikuwa hiasi. Sasa umeisoma hiyo.
Now it's official.
It's official.
Yep.
If I would hate to be in that situation, as a leader, as a politician, I would hate to be in the deputy president's situation.
Let's talk about that shortly. City, why don't you welcome the first governor of Kiambu County with the day's proverb?
Yes. Our proverb for the whole of this week have been from the Republic of Gambia. The Gambia. He who sleeps on a borrowed mat is sleeping on a cold, very cold ground.
Sasa
he who sleeps on a borrowed mat.
Self-explanatory according to me. Umelalia mkeka wa wenyewe. Mwenyewe uenda akavuruta anytime. Kwa hivyo ujipange. So I take it literally as it is.
You've taken it well. Yes. Because that is exactly what it means.
Yes.
Mkeka
si wako bana. Si wako wazima.
Usirarue. Wewe lalia tu.
Kama suruali ya
kuwazima. Mwenyewe akitaka atachukua.
Haisitiri matako.
Yes.
Suruali ya kuwazima. It's just
that is it.
It should not fit you. No. Si yako bana. Haya. You hate to be in the position.
Truly, I would hate to, and I sympathize. I sympathize. Partly, I want to avoid looking like I have made up my mind that the deputy president must go. But he needs to deal with those issues. The last few weeks, there were not issues. It was hearsay. No, Murima, Inapigwa, Nini. And I said to myself at some point, please don't drag us there. This Mulima is a very sensitive place. Mambo ya kisiasa. Because kwa hiyo block, watu wote huiona like a voting block. But I say to myself, I look back now and look at the last 2 years. My deputy president, what has he been doing? You understand? He may have been impeaching himself. You understand?
No.
I'm saying William Ruto had issues with Uhuru Kenyatta. He managed to navigate in very extraneous circumstances. He managed somehow. To deal with those issues.
Did William manage or did Uhuru manage to ignore?
Well, you need to be able to be managed or manage.
Oh, okay.
One of the two. Or play around. Sugarcoat when needs be. When you're together, inama. You understand? And it's never been an issue for us in the mountain that if he had come to us, for example, and said, these Mau Mau roads that Uhuru started, pesa yake nimejaribu iwekwe, wamekataa. That is an issue that touches very many counties in the Mulima. You understand? Tuliweka pesa ya kahawa, hawa watu wakatoa. That is another issue. You understand? So that you are telling us from here, we participated in making government, but we are not getting services. You understand? And Kenya is not Mulima. Neither is Mulima Kenya. You understand? It's part of Kenya. So please, the rest of the world should not look at us as people who just like to complain. We now have an issue. It's a mountain and we need to deal with it. We need to deal with it. It is now Rigathi Gachagua, His Excellency. It is his issue now. You understand?
Munamruka.
I'm saying, you have read
as
you have read the charges, Latiff.
Yes.
You understand? Even if Kabako wanted to help, yeah, how do I come and explain the hotels? How can I help Rigathi? He's the only one who can tell us, I took a loan of this much to buy these things. You understand? You get? I did this to get this. You have been charged. No matter how much we feel for him, you cannot go there and help him. It is him who has to wriggle out of this thing. You understand? And politics aside, surely. This is not the Deputy President of Nyeri. He is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Don't you think, William, that the charges are coined in such a way that they make him sound and appear to be the Deputy President?
You know, the lawyer of an alleged criminal who has killed someone, they come to court to fight to get them off the hook.
Yep.
And use any means possible legally. And dance in court and make sure that everybody looks like this is coined. You understand? But it is coined. It is there. It is done. It is imezungushwa mpaka imeshonwa. Sasa iko hapo ni charge. You have to deal with it even if it was a court of law. No matter how much emotions it may carry, at some point, he has to deal with it.
What is deal?
Yeah?
What is deal?
To deal with it.
Yeah.
He has to find a way of coming out of this.
How does he do that?
Well, he needs to know. I know what I would do if I were him, but surely.
Mombia Bana, you would help a brother.
You know, sometimes in Africa we don't do some things that make us look very honorable. If I were him, I would resign. If it has gotten this far, I would quit. I would live to fight another day.
What change does it make?
What change does it make?
Yeah, if you're removed by impeachment or you resign.
No, once you're moved by impeachment, this thing dies off. Yes. The idea is to remove him, isn't it? He has removed himself. He will have a chance to fight another day. But if this goes through,
he can vie for another state office.
I would not vie another state office if I've gone to the level of deputy president. I would not. You know, there are times you wish the ground opens, splits, and you enter. That's where I feel now I am. You know, the country is bleeding. You know, even for William Ruto, as we speak now, it is not the best thing. No. This is complicated and muddy and bad for everyone.
William, do you think that what we are seeing
know what
now,
I'm saying?
what we are being fed at the moment,
I know
William,
exactly
do
what
you
you're
think
saying.
it is diversionary, or do you think that it should not actually be taking center stage in the manner in which it is because of the bleed that Kenya is going through at the moment? There's so many things that are going wrong that we should actually be paying a lot of attention to. But here we are, every day Parliament is talking about this thing.
You need to be very careful when you're in certain offices. You may be working very hard, but working very hard to remove yourself. I said this in the beginning. You understand? Look back 2 years from the date of swearing in. I heard you talk about swearing in. Track the movements of the deputy president. You understand? When Uhuru was fighting with Ruto, because I was there, I could see the fight.
You were seeing it.
I was seeing it. You will still find the deputy has some time to go and speak to Kenyans about what government is doing.
And to launch
it. Is only at the last tail where he came openly now and started throwing salvos at Uhuru. Because it was almost now election time. But here we are mid-term of their first term. And before it gets here, you know it's been ugly. We are hearing things now. You understand? There have been issues inside there. sijui nani ameshikwa kola Itumbi sijui nani, all these things. And it is not policy or development, it is just small issues. The other day we had about 10 billion. What are these things, Latiff? Why are we talking money?
It's bad manners.
Why are we talking
like
money?
Ndu is suggesting, this is bad manners by the two.
You're asking why
even when
money,
yes.
We talk about money because at the heart of this problem is always money.
Money is the issue.
There's always political issues of this nature. My friend, everything is fluff around it. Look, the history of this country with these issues, just try. Let's just start where we started witnessing these things. Go back into history. The question will be, how far back do you want to go into history? Where we now saw this thing playing out when people were more aware was when somebody called Josephat Karanja
was kicked out through Mwenje.
Yes, it always, in those days, this is more refined. This one, we even reading about it. That one was just a clarion call, and then people were asked to join in. People joined in. Some people even pointed out, Kamodo was unfortunate, said this guy is supporting somebody else, and the somebody else at that time was Njonjo. The same issue. Now, if you look at the problem that was there, how is it that Njonjo, a man whom they claimed wanted to overthrow the government, wanted to do this, wanted to do the other, and then everything just kept quiet. And that was it.
Yes. Since when did we start hearing about an impeachment? It's been a while, Latiff. It came sometime 3-4 months ago. It fizzed off. At that point, His Excellency, the Deputy President, should have started looking at things differently, managing his situation. Because it is his situation with his boss. And surprisingly, there is nothing you can say about William Ruto on this one. He has kept quiet completely, by design or by ignorance or as a strategy. You understand, he has not said anything. And that speaks a lot. He's managing himself. You understand that? He's managing himself. And quite so well. Now the ball is in the hands of the National Assembly.
Yeah.
And they have a big issue to deal with. When it comes to giving evidence and it is laid out there, my village mate, he has to learn quickly how to deal with these issues.
But William, but this is another matter of a precedence. In this day and age, and with the constitution we have, and what you set in motion, those who are baying for the Deputy President's blood, have they considered what they are going to set in motion with everything that you are doing now? Because I said this in the morning, and this is what I said. Okay, we've read, we've heard. Who is it who is in high office whom we can't point fingers at for the same things?
Yes.
To a greater or lesser degree. Who? People who have wealth whose origin is really shaky at best. Who? Let's not talk about other governments. This particular government.
You know, last night, City, I was watching social media. That's where you get the real news of who is doing what. Except now there's AI, so some things would be manufactured. Some lady came, I don't know, MP for where. She said, "You are asking the Gandhi Kashangwa where he got these hotels and all these things. Can we start from the top?" This is an MP saying. We find out who has what until MCA. What was she saying? What was she saying? That it is okay to have these things. So let us punish everyone who has.
Nani ajaiba?
Kofupi.
I was following on what you are saying. Yes. So it may be a beginning of something bigger. And those who have amassed wealth in this manner, they should start spending sleepless nights.
The problem is, William, this is not on principle at all.
I am saying, Latiff, I'm saying.
I'll be looking at it as president if the principle here has been set. For example, what we see.
No, I was thinking where City left, that now we have started this.
Yeah.
So who cannot?
It can expose anyone.
Yes. It can go to anyone.
Right.
It could go to his boss.
Can touch anybody now.
It could go to his boss.
Do they know what they've set in motion? Because you've laid it out.
And if that is the standard that you're going to use to apply, that would set rules for, standards for, then who can it not touch?
Precisely.
If we were in UK, many people would have resigned today.
Yes, no.
Yes.
But here, we don't resign.
Principle.
We don't resign.
Let's take a break. We'll come back shortly, 25 minutes to 10. Our conversation this morning is what's happening on his way out. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the National Assembly has announced they are going to be having public hearings on Friday across all the 290 constituencies, but people will be meeting in county centres. It's not effective at all anyway. To tell everybody in Kajiado County to gather in Kajiado. Hey, my friend. Everybody in Mandera together in one place.
Do you know how vast Mandera is?
Anyway, it is what it is. Back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Do you want to live out your life with the utmost convenience? A way of life that is empowered with the necessary tools and solutions to live out your life effortlessly? Then wait no more. Download Loop today and enjoy the best mobile money and banking worlds through a simple platform that delivers payment, credit, and saving services, while at the same time offering personalized journeys and deals to complement your interests and needs. Why wait? Just Loop it. Tune in to the Situation Room every morning and Spice Drive from 3 to 7 p.m. every Monday to Friday and learn more about Loop.
Unbeatable deals at Peppino's Pizza, Kimathi Street. Get this. 2 large pizzas plus a 1.25-liter soda for just 1,500 Kenya shillings, or 2 medium pizzas and a 1.25-liter soda for just 1,200 Kenya shillings. Available every Tuesday and Thursday. Chicken lovers, we got you covered too. Enjoy 2 crispy chicken pieces, chips, and a 350 ml soda for just 500 shillings. Call 0728-261-875 or order online at peppinospizza.co.ke. Join us for mouth-watering treats all month long. Hashtag Peppino's Pizza at 8.
The weather with SpiceFM.
17 degrees and a bit of cloud cover in Nairobi. Highs of 24 and lows of 14. We'll see highs of 25 and lows of 13 in a sunny Nakuru at 19. It's partly sunny at 20 in Nyeri with highs of 23, and at 24, that'll be the high in Eldoret, where it's sunny at 18. Mombasa 28 is partly sunny, highs of 31. Malindi at 29, sunny going to highs of 31 as well. Kisumu is sunny at 26 with highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 29 in Kakamega, where it is sunny at 24. Partly sunny at 22 in Kampala, and at 28 it's sunny in Dar es Salaam, going to highs of 30. Slightly warmer at 10 degrees now in Johannesburg with highs of 22 and lows of 6, while at 30 the sun will be up through Wednesday, going to lows of 25. 17 and mostly cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 21, and Lagos is partly sunny at 26, going to highs of 31, while Kinshasa at 24 is sunny with highs of 32. It's 20 and sunny in Beijing with highs of 21, Paris cloudy at 13, and London cloudy at 13. We'll round things off in New York, where Tuesday night is cloudy at 15, coming into Wednesday, highs of 20 and lows of 15.
3 to 7 p.m. doesn't need to be the dreary end-of-day routine.
Delicate. So hold on. So you do your whole body aside from your nipples. That's what you're saying.
Tune in to the Spice Drive Monday to Friday and get your engine started.
All right, so we're coming out of traffic hour in no time from now. A little bit of that still left here and there, but I think all manageable. How about we talk through the day? SpiceFM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, 20 minutes to 10. We continue our conversation. William Kapogo, party leader to Jibebe wa Kenya, and first governor of Kiambu County is here in the studio with us, and we're looking at what we are seeing now coming out of Parliament, which is now coming countrywide, to go through the motion of impeachment. If you look at it, William, there's a political process here, and there's then counts that have been leveled, and they're quoting, sections of the Constitution, articles of the Constitution, and principles of law and governance and public service. Do they matter?
Really, from where I sit, I think they're trying to enlarge the discussion and take it to the people. But I want to hide under Article 1. Sovereignty of this nation is vested on the people, done by themselves directly or through their elected leaders. This matter is on the table of the elected leaders. But probably, because it's a national matter, they want to open it up. But as you said earlier, how do you have a conversation in Kiambu Town Hall with 2 million Kiambuyans? It's impossible. Be that as it may, let's see how it all unfolds. But it may be an exercise in futility.
It's just a rubber stamping exercise. Somehow.
It's probably opening it up for people to vent, and say what they think. But at the end of the day, it will still go back to the House.
It goes back there.
Yes.
Do you think they'll even look at, does it matter if you quote Article 2, Article 3, Article 215, Article 275 of the Constitution?
The only issue here is records speak. And at this time and age of digital world, those conversations in those counties will be recorded. And they will be part of our archives. So at any one point, Latiff and Kapogo want to see what the people of Garissa said. We should be able to access. You can manipulate who comes and what happens. But the discussion will be available. So who will be talking is another matter. You understand? They may be dragging this matter too far. As it is very huge. Very huge. And I said I would hate to be in that situation. Believe you me, if it were me, I would run.
You would resign immediately?
I would run, man. I would run.
The things that we are talking about when we talk about contravention of the Constitution are actually serious things, because we talk about the Constitution being the sovereign law upon which Kenyans and the government will operate, under which will operate. So if you see any contravention of the Constitution, those are serious things. But it does seem as though they're being thrown about in a frivolous manner, like, okay, let's throw something and let's see if it'll stick, But if we look at it from that point of view,
if we're not careful.
Yeah, if we look at it, and again, I'm just coming back to the danger that it poses, whereby anybody is going to be able to say, well, here's something that the Constitution says, and if I feel like you looked at me left, that's what I'm going to throw at you and say, well, that's in contravention of the Constitution. And it's almost as if we're watering down the potency of the supreme law. Because 11 counts, okay, that's quite something, but is it, and I keep going back to this because I cannot wrestle myself away from it, that are these things of such grave importance that were able to be encapsulated by it for the last 2 weeks and maybe counting, whereby there is a myriad of other things that needs to be handled by the same House of Parliament that should be focused on?
If you ask me, we lost it when we lost the value for the rule of law. Bad or good, the law is the fabric of a good society. If it's not working, fix it. When Kimunya said as a minister that title deeds are papers, I got very worried. Banks got too worried, they stopped lending money with title deeds. Till today, that's a problem. These same guys who are going to do this thing in the villages, they've been told CDF is unconstitutional, and they're still pushing it. It's been told unconstitutional 3 different times.
Yep.
By different benches, up to 5 benches. Why wouldn't they give it up and tell the country, yes, mahakama imesema, it is unconstitutional. So until that matter is reviewed or an appeal goes through, it is unconstitutional and be treated as such. So sometimes it is good when it favors them. Right now, there is a motion to increase the term of the
president,
and I don't know who else. What do they want?
What's important?
Do good 5 years, get another 5 from the people, from your good work. You understand?
Stop thinking of 11.
The other thing Parliament is forgetting, because it's been put there that their term will be increased. You know that there's nothing you can do according to the law to benefit yourself in Parliament. It will benefit the next one. So there's no way they can extend theirs. Is that the conversation Kenya wants to have right now about extending the
term
limits of the president? I'm not sure that William Ruto wants to extend his term. It would be nice to be a president an extra 2 years.
Will it really? With the sort of turmoil that we have in the country, will you really want to be a president for another 2 years?
But you know, City, in a few days, 900, we will be going to an election.
Yes.
Who elects these people? Who elects us? It is you, Mwananchi.
True.
I line up ahead of you, I cast my vote, and you cast yours. For me, these clowns have been elected by people. You understand? So when will Kenya change if we continue electing them? Alafu unaweka kura baada ya mwaka 5 kulia. Unalia 5 years.
Alafu unarudi
The
unafanya
day of
same
election,
mistake.
unatoka asubuhi na mapema, unapiga laini 5-6 hours, unajifix. Ndio ulie 5 years. Ndio ulie 5 years. Kama sasa Gen Z wanafanya vizuri accountability, si ndio? But Ruto must go. If he had gone then, they had gone to sell and he had gone, what would have happened? You know, we don't think beyond something. You should see to the horizon. What next? They were saying, oh, Speaker holds for I don't know how many days and then an election. Election by who? Conducted by who?
And we do not have...
We do not have an IEBC. We must stop just throwing things into the air. You understand? We must do things within a framework that is explainable within our constitution. There are ways of removing a president just like this one. True or not true? It is there in the Katiba how to remove a president.
William, there was a time when we were told that Idi Amin was going to attack Kenya.
Yes.
And that he was going to claim part of his land which ended at Naivasha. So that western part, or western nini yote was going to go to Uganda.
Na tulikuwa tumeona saa hiyo ameweka viwete baharini.
Baharini, yes.
So a threat from that kind of man, it must be taken seriously.
And people demonstrated in Kenya.
Yes.
Demonstrated. But the question you want to ask, what was happening in Kenya at that particular time? What else was happening? What was happening to the presidency at that particular point?
Wasn't it the change the constitution movement?
Precisely.
Yes.
Precisely. There are things which, whether we like it or not, are diversionary. They happen so that your attention is taken elsewhere. Because since this matter of the deputy president gained momentum and actually became the center stage, nobody talks about cost of living. Nobody talks about, well, we did, the people who have died needlessly in this country. Nobody talks about hospitals that have no drugs. Forget the problems that we're talking about now. Nobody talks about schools and the capitation that they have not received. This thing is center stage on everything. as if when this man or the process comes to whatever end it's going to come to, okay, the issues that we had before, will they have moved even an inch?
This is my question. That okay, let's move forward in future if it's possible. What's that teleport?
Yeah, we can teleport.
We can teleport into the future, maybe some 2 weeks into the future. So now let's say that in the future we see that impeachment has gone through. So suddenly, now when that has happened, if it does happen, education will be sorted. This thing that people are going to hospital today, they can't get medical services because of SHA shift or whole debacle will be sorted out. Infrastructure in the country suddenly, miraculously, at the snap of finger will be sorted out. Will we then suddenly have a robust system whereby corruption is taken care of? The thing that has everybody with rapt attention right now that's supposed to be making sure all these other things are taken care of, they are doing this thing. So now when this impeachment, should it happen, are we saying that it is the stumbling block to all of these other things happening, and that they get rid of it or they get rid of him, then suddenly we all see all these things falling into place, falling dominoes.
You will have an executive that is serving the people and not amassing wealth. That's what you're going to have.
Well, that's what's going to happen
you're
now.
Going to have the chairman of IBEC.
Has caused this to happen is causing what City is saying at the moment. It has taken center stage. Whoever has caused it, I do not want to cast aspersions on anyone, but it is here. The elephant is here. But once it leaves, all those other things will go back to where they were 3 weeks ago.
Asking.
You understand? We'll be talking about the life insurance fund or hospital insurance fund. We shall be talking about capitation. Some may say these people derailed us to deal with these problems. You understand? Because human beings are interesting. They take advantage of situations as they emerge. So let's deal with it. This, you can't run away from it. No, it's here.
It's here?
It's here. We can't stop it.
It's constitutional.
We can't stop it. It's there. The train has left the station. So let it go. But is it going to go and leave us better?
Exactly. Is it going to suddenly place? Is it going to place upon the minds of people who are responsible for making the law and representing people
we need
that we
to
should
blame
focus?
both of them because they didn't manage their
internal
marriage. You understand? Lakini hufika mahali bibi anasema huyu wacha mimi nihame. Huyu nitakufa nikiishi na yeye. I am sure they must have tried to manage their problems.
Now the matter is before elders in a public gathering.
And wote wawili ni kichwa ni ngumu. Unaniona?
So it's a character clash.
I was in the room. I mean, I don't think.
I want to take you back there. I want to take you back there, okay? In Karen, in 2022,
yes,
we were treated to a weekend of drama.
Yes.
Before the announcement was made that the running mate for William Ruto
2 days there.
Yes, it was 2 days. Just some drama. I don't know, we're hearing there were polls that are being conducted. Let's call people. We call people and ask them, who would you prefer? It comes this way. Let's do another poll. Let's talk to the leaders who are present. The leaders are asked, who do you prefer? You present your list. It comes this way. It comes.
That is the real story. The last one.
Some people dropped out.
The latter.
The leaders.
Yes, leaders.
By majority, those who were running with the Kenya Kwanza,
kitchen cabinet then,
they did not want this person.
Yes.
They voted for somebody else.
Yes.
Right now, we are hearing this impeachment has been brought up by MPs,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And other ground leaders. And they're the ones who are saying, this guy is whatever. They're saying he's been arrogant, he's rude to fellow leaders. I suspect it's the same people who did not put a tick against his name.
Maybe some of them, because I know the group that was there. Without naming people, I was in that meeting.
So some of them?
I was in that meeting. It was very heated.
Why?
The Honorable William Ruto, His Excellency the President, opened up a discussion with leaders to help him identify a good deputy president. And presentations were done by good team of people who had done a lot of research, saying if Tinga and Martha are the candidates on that side, which combination of William Ruto and who would be best suited to
counter that one
and win. So when that presentation was done, the best combination at that point, mark my words, at that point, don't ask me about today,
By the technocrats.
Was a mixture of William Ruto and Kindiki. Would have done better against Tinga and Martha. And that was the discussion there. And I remember that we were about 24 thereabout. The discussion went sana deep, until they decided we are going to take a vote. Whether people had lobbied for those people or not, I do not know, because I came just like an hour before now what's happening. And sure, as night follows day, vote was done. This guy got 3, my deputy president. I think Wairimu got 1. I said I'll not name names.
But you haven't named names.
So someone else got 1, and this other one got 20. I think 20 or 21.
So a majority.
90%.
Right. Okay.
The decision was communicated to them. They were brought back in. They were told this is the position, and we said we'll stand by it. That's the decision. They were given a chance to. I'm talking about something that I should not be talking about, but I'm saying we are in this thing now.
We are where we are.
We are where we are.
Deal.
And the Honorable Gachagua stood up and said, I've heard what you people have done, but I had no discussions with you people. My discussions were with
this guy.
The candidate.
Yes. So my problem is him. Hapo.
Bele ya watu.
So anyway, many things happened between that minute and midnight and the next morning when we went in to announce the team is so and so.
Get an election then.
But you have heard people saying bang the table inside the office. You know, I'm not discussing the merits of this thing. But Pene Moshi.
Panamoto.
Usually, these two people would have managed their problems for Kenya to have an easy time. But they didn't. One is talking, one is not talking. I sympathize with the one who is talking.
William, you have been in a position of extreme power yourself.
Extreme?
Yes. A governor is akin to a president. I mean, the powers of a governor are immense. It's serious power. There's always a discussion about how it changes people.
Yes.
Are we seeing such a thing?
Yes and no. Yes and no. We have a problem now as a country. We need to deal with it, and we should not let this thing tear up our country. I don't think it has the capacity to, but we should be careful.
We should take this.
Deputy governors must have worries like hell. You know, they will be impeached left, right, and center. And you know, if I was to change the constitution, that is the first place I would go to.
That one?
Yes.
And change it in what direction?
That if the remainder of a term is more than 11 months, you go back to the people. If you impeach a governor 3 years to the election, you go back to the people. Go and get a fresh mandate. Because right now, every deputy governor sitting, he has an opportunity to become governor just through Senate.
Evo too. William, our time is up. Thank you very much for coming today. Come again.
Asante.
Come again. Let's chambua this thing more as time progresses.
We should. But our country should stay united.
Very good.
We should have a good country called Kenya. And we come back and deal with corruption.
We had promised to give 3,000 shillings to one person for renewing their subscription to their Safaricom Home Fiber. Your subscription to the fifth bronze services has been renewed by 29999, okay? And this is Oscar Tsimbalaka Mwanzi, who has sent us a screenshot that they have actually renewed. Oscar, congratulations. 3,000 shillings worth of airtime is coming to you, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber. Continue enjoying what we call efficiency in terms of communication and access to information through Safaricom Home Fiber. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. Tomorrow is Thursday. It's the 3rd. We'll be back here. It's 10 a.m.